bounce should be taken. Conway playing against his old club up against Arnold, one of his former teammates. That'll be a great clutch to watch this afternoon. Danny Holm gets the first kick out of the middle, goes up forward, overrunning it with Stevens, couldn't quite take it. Ground level was forward, the handball across to McGowan. McGowan left leg. This could be the first major of the afternoon. It is. Oh no, it's not. It's hit the post. So unfavoured there by the bounce. But the first score on the board in the opening seconds of this match goes to the Bulldogs.
Phil Carman has given Andrew Whiteman the job for picking up McGowan. You just see how far away he was. And that's what McGowan can do to you. He just loses you in the packs and he gets away. He's so explosive. It's a very difficult task. Thread goal from defence. Pinpoint kick to Robertson, who's very good in the air. Playing at centre half back today. Tucks the ball and takes off on the left boot. The distribution was very, very good. Holm did well just to push the ball away from Lennon. Lennon got it from Burton in the handball, but good pressure comes from Michael Davey. Look at McGowan, so very slick to Slade. And three Bulldog players out there just standing unattended almost. And finally it's Bello who pushes the ball deep into the forward line. Chris Gowans caught on the boundary line, gets a Shepherd. Handballs over the top into space to his brother James, and off the toe. It's out of play and across the line for a throw-in.
Boys, one of the things we should have mentioned is that Stephen White has dropped out of the Sturt side and Paul Scholar's taken his place. We'll look at interchange in just a moment. There is White. And that, I'd suggest, is a pretty significant blow for the Double Blues.
It's one of their key forwards, and they're marking strengths and goal kicker as well. You see the Double Blues just trying to clear the ball from defence. Gowan gets the handball across to Stevens. Stevens around the body, looks for Lee. Lee couldn't take it. McArdle does. Cleans up lovely. Back inside is Hamlin. Hamlin left boot around the body. It's the mark being taken by Gowans. The ball's been kept in. The umpire now indicates it's gone over the boundary line. It'll be thrown in alongside the point post.
How could Gowans be that free going forward like that?
The ball thrown back in again. Conway up against Ford. Robertson again, a quick hands across. 45 coming out for the Bulldogs is Whiteman. And they've gone back from Geddes across to the young Weatherall. Now Weatherall takes off, has two bounces, takes the third, can go for a fourth if he wishes. He doesn't, runs his full distance. The umpire calls play on. The kick in towards centre half forward. The contest is on. 42 back there is Hamlin for the Bulldogs. Good work by Hicks. The Double Blues eager to get their hands on the ball. The quick kick forward. Where's Burton? Runs towards the contest. Coming out hard as Squire over top of the football. Just paddles it forward a little bit. Couldn't quite get to it. Atkinson's there as well for the Double Blues. The ball beats both players out over the boundary line.
Central District bench, you can see Tim Cook back into the side sitting there. He's also got Lillico, and as I mentioned a moment ago, Paul Scholar also on interchange for the Bulldogs.
Conway brings the ball down. Lennon gave it away. Good effort there over the top of the contest was Graham. The umpire indicates he'll have a bounce. Gee, fellas, it's not played at the pace we've seen recently. We saw the Eagles in Central out here just 2 weeks ago. It was cracking. This one's almost pedestrian.
Yeah, I guess they're finding their feet at the moment. There's that breeze, as I said, the windsock doesn't really show it, but it really has got some punch in it going from left to right. So it'll probably be a bit scrappy early.
As you can see, good attack. Brodie Atkinson claimed. Hicks got him in the tackle. Holm just crashes through. Did pretty well, the skipper. Forces it out towards the midfield, right inside the 50-metre square. Ford just lost the side of the ball, took on Geddes and missed everything in actual fact. The spill to Scotty Lee, he's sensible, isn't he? Experienced, and pushes it to the boundary.
I think Scott Lee would be having a word, wouldn't he? Kynan Ford. Ball first, then the body, not the other way around. There's the Tater, 37 years of age and still producing pretty good form.
Lennon up and down, just slicks that one out to Conway, that gives it away. Quickly away with it was Jared Twitt, caught on the boundary line. Squares it up, nicely done. Big fly came out in Arnold, couldn't take the ball. Now that was a throw by Hicks, and the umpire's blown the whistle. Dead set right, and from 48 metres out, an opportunity for Woosnam. To the point of the square. Defensively down, off hands of Burton. That was a clever kick. A highly educated kick from the full forward. Onto the left, quick as you come, and right through the middle for the Double Blues first.
Well, what makes that so important? We've talked a couple of times about the strength of the breeze, and so often it happens that, I mean, you win the toss, you kick with it first. There's no doubt about that to just get a score on the board, but often it can be that the game is scrappy early, And if you can just tough it out, you've got some space in your forward line. Burton found that space. And as David said, it was a very clever kick at the same time. So that's an ideal start for the Double Blues. Just a few minutes in.
5-point margin favouring the Double Blues. As again, Conway up against Arnold. Conway gets the ball down beautifully there to Lennon. Lennon, quick handball inside to Weatherall. Weatherall quickly on to Boot. Looks up towards Burton. Looks like he's playing at centre-half forward this afternoon. 54 is Michael Davey for the Bulldogs across to McGowan. He's found space again. Looks up forward for Scotty Lee. Scotty Lee comes out hard. The big arms are up. He takes a good mark at full stride. So Scotty Lee gets up, gets the head around, wants to get the ball moving, gets it back inside. 50, the big leap from behind by Arnold. Couldn't bring it to the ground. McArdle's in there. Socking the ball is Maloney. Some strong work again. Inboard there by Robinson. And the free kick's been paid. It'll go downfield. Bit of an indiscretion behind between, I think, Gowans and it may have been Maloney.
It was the second effort that the umpire blew the whistle for, wasn't it? Jones, another 50-metre penalty. Ball come back again. And this will bring him within range, by the way.
And to just labour the point on that wind and how fluky it is, that had some penetration in it, that kick. I know it's not going to count for anything, but it really had some carry. So a gusty wind. And Daniel Holm not very happy. I'm a bit surprised that as we see an interchange being made and Tim Cook coming onto the ground for the first time early in the piece.
Well, you know why that change is on, don't you?
A bit surprised, though, that nobody really seems to be going with McGowan at the moment after last week's performance.
It was 37 possessions, I think, out of the middle. As the kick has gone forward, the mark's been paid. If the umpire paid this, I think he'll have to. He's had 4 or 5 grabs at it, Toby Thurston. You see there 1, 2, 3, knocks it up again, 4, and finally takes the mark. So the youngster line this up. Very tight angle. Oh, well, he comes around, goes for the check side, brings the ball back. Now that's a good kick from the young 19-year-old. The second goal for the Double Blues.
It's his first goal in his fledgling career too, Tricky, to highlight in any young man's career. That's a good one for the highlight tape.
And a good one to get, isn't it? Had fair claim on that, 195 centimetres. I was just looking at him thinking he's a tall lad, but he's going to provide a presence down there in the absence of Stephen White. Good opportunity for him, isn't it?
Well, he's just not quite physically developed for AFL footy yet. Obviously a long-term AFL prospect.
Well, if that's a snapshot, though, he's got a bit of skill, a bit of ability, as we see James Gowans, who was ripped off the ground a moment ago, ready to come back on.
Well, why would you do that? You take him off for a minute and take him back on. Why isn't there runners out there just passing a message on?
Look, I think,
well, it's interesting, isn't it? You saw Hamill come off last night for a poor kick, and I mean, the player knows that it sometimes can be a bit counterproductive.
Look, I guess just team disciplines have to be seen to be done often. Geddes to Robertson, who sold the dummy, used it pretty well in the finish. Back to Geddes, who has to stand and deliver. One step goes towards half forward, 3-on-1 in the contest. Burton, the one man, got the ball and got away with it as it turned out. Lennon flicked it to forward, Jones in turn. This is Whiteman. Hasn't he got a job today? And great smother home. You can see why he's leading the club in 1%ers. He just commits himself to the contest every time.
And the Cookie Monster goes back and has a seat as Gowans comes back onto the ground. Look, I think you're quite right, David, is that it's something to do with team discipline and team rules and things. And the little reminder check.
Thurston's in there working hard with a good second effort, taking Brodie Atkinson with Stevens. The ball's knocked out by Squire. Squire comes up with it somehow, gives a handball across. Chance for Lennon, left leg. Comes to the top of the square, he's gone over the top. Wooston runs hard towards it. What can he do? He does the big arc, gets around, wants to give the handball. He finally does. Gives it back to Weatherall. Weatherall gives it back now to Twitt. Twitt around his body. The ball has no carry. It's cleaned up quickly by the Bulldogs defence. It clears and goes towards Danny Holm.
Yes, it was Joey Hicks who got it out, and Holm from half-back through the midfield. 2-on-1 in the contest. Ford at least presented himself, forced the ball to ground, it turned it over to a 50-50 contest. And I guess in the analysis of that one, he did the right thing. We're 9.5, almost 10 minutes into the first term. Elizabeth Oval, if you've just joined us. Central's a second, Sturt a fifth, and fighting for a finals 5 berth. a loss here today really opens the door for South Adelaide to displace them. Robinson. Yes, he's been tough and strong since coming to the club from the Redlegs. Good overhead.
We've got some numbers, and I'll tell you what, there's chopping central up in the middle of the ground, and then all of a sudden you make a poor choice like that.
It's not a matter of that. He was looking for an option. There wasn't one. There was not a forward who presented himself. Tricky. He held the ball until one came, and one didn't come.
Well, find some space.
Fair enough. Ford was clever, and the kick was very, very good. O'Carroll came out on a lead, dropped it. Wasn't so difficult. Ford butters up. His second effort was very good. Requires a shepherd for Scotty Lee. He took the wrong option. Ford over the top of it. Fights hard for it. It's a real scrap now. Now this game's warming up, and you can sense that it's starting to lift.
I was just going to say, though, that Sturt are finding some freedom through the middle of the ground, and they're playing 1, 2, 3 forward of the centre half forward area, so they're flooding in defence and getting some numbers back. And probably that's part of what you said about Bruce Lennon. Lifted the eyes and had nowhere to go. But, you know, what's Bruce? He's played 140, 181 games. So you've got to know when you're on
you're hot
tap like that and someone's right up the backside to get it on and get it to space if there's nothing on offer.
Double Blues from the defence, comes up towards Gowans for the Bulldogs. Gives a handball across to Rick McGowan. McGowan again to Gowans. There's a few Gowans amongst that call. Finally ends up 21 is Christopher Gowans. Goes across the face of goals, and a great mark taken.
Slade, was it?
It's like Matty Slade. Is it? Wait, I think it is. Standing Jared Twitt. A couple of smaller members of both sides out there this afternoon. So the youngster, just 24 years of age, in his 25th game, will kick from 45. He does that well into a bit of a breeze. We'll wait for the umpire. It's the one finger up, so another behind to the Bulldogs. That's their second for the afternoon. They trail by 10 points.
It was a good mark, wasn't it? For a young man who's more accustomed to pinching it off the deck. But not able to finish it off. Central starting to need a goal now, kicking with the wind.
Robinson has been terrific in the opening 10 minutes of this game. He's been in everything. Power to Geddes was very slick. You know, their defensive 6 players, Sturt, are as good as any in the competition.
Yeah.
Their midfield, you look at them, they're not too bad. They've put Twitt there to try and get some run on the wing. Lennon's as good as there is going around. Just wonder whether Brodie Atkinson at his best is not better suited for the middle for Sturt. Perhaps he's not fit enough.
Yeah, you would have thought so, but there might be something in that he's not able to run the game out in there. I half expected him to line up in there anyway, despite what they'd named.
Lee, taken by Lennon. Woosden. Dragged off of Whiteman. Play on, said the umpire. Lifting the eyes and going towards goal.
Stevens.
Oh, Stevens, yes. And misses.
It's a bit early to say that the Bulldogs are kicking themselves out of this, but when you go inside 56 times and Sturt have only been in 4, you need to start to get a return when you've got a 4 or 5 goal Gale at your back.
Scotty Lee tackles, manages to get the ball free. Twitt ends up with it, goes back towards Geddy. Geddy needs to get around Bello. What's the umpire indicating here? The throw. He's called the advantage to Scotty Lee. He's got to play loose, and Danny Holmes, strong customers, Danny Holmes. That's a good mark. Calls play on. Gives it back to Scotty Lee. He's tackled from behind by Powell. Danny Holmes' second effort's good across to Marco Bello. Marco Bello shouldn't miss this, and he doesn't. The first major for the Bulldogs this afternoon comes from the boot of Marco Bello. There's a couple of players just having a little bit of a talk in the middle of the ground.
Looked very much like a mark. I was going to say, when Peter Jonas does the debrief of the tape, you'd probably pay that. But when Jonah has a debrief during the week, count down home for A, having a crack at the mark, should have been paid, wasn't paid, second effort, used his body beautifully and distributed it, and then protected. And Marco Bello got an armchair ride, finished it off okay, but you wouldn't mind him on a platter like that all the time, would you?
I think Gary McIntosh did a bit of that at Norwood, and you'd think that Holmes in that same class about now.
I saw most of last week against Port, and I mean, McGowan got lots of footy, but Holmes' work was terrific.
Weatherall was very, very good. Atkinson stayed down, didn't sit for him. Woosden just toe pokes it into space. Brodie was very quick to Woosden, who turns it around the corner. Clever kick, very clever kick, and Thurston's his mark. Another difficult shot. Let's see if the old check side is working again.
Thurston Howe the third. Well, he's going to have to use a different kick. Now, would this be right? I mean, I've always said that this is the banana from this side, the check side from the other, on the right leg.
That's right.
Is that how we see it?
Okay.
Happy with that, Niles?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. He'll come around one. He will have to do the step across.
Yeah, maybe if he just angles it across the boot for the banana.
You bring out the best in nails, Triggy, when you're on board. Truly, he's argumentative the rest of the time. He agrees with you with anything, and he just puts it across the face of goal. I think it's a right footer.
Advice, did he? He should have maybe banana the ball back.
Sometimes you just need to run out and turn it around. It opens up the face of the goal, but it wasn't a difficult kick.
It's a poor miss, really.
But his action's good. He didn't run out to the right. It was just he just mishit it as he dropped it to the boot.
The kick in. Thurston's back there again. Couldn't quite get to it. Downs should pick this up. Thurston's worked hard to get across to him. The ball just did not sit. Once again, the boundary umpire will take his part in the game. Usually one of the smaller supporters here this afternoon.
Be interesting, Mark, to see what the Bulldogs do when they have their turn to go against the Breeze, whether they put a man or another man back, or whether or not they just go quite conventionally. But at the moment, Sturt have got some numbers in defence, although at this occasion, Central have a free rein.
Bit of brotherly love there. The ball's going to favour the Bulldogs again. Marco Bello for his second of the afternoon runs into an open goal and puts the ball in the car park of the Social Club.
Look, it really is just such a simple game, isn't it? Is that Sturt, for most of the quarter, have got their numbers back in defence. Bulldogs have been slow and sloppy and a little bit, you know, not so fluent through the middle of the ground. All of a sudden, it goes quickly, 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 and you get one man on one man in your forward line, and then they can do their tricks with some leg speed and a few tricks, as I say, but pretty hard when you're slow through the middle of the ground to get it in there.
We look at the double blues in the midfield. One wing, they've got Jay Cheedy. Hasn't seen anything of the ball yet. Whiteman's in the middle, he's quick enough, but McGowan's really taking his attentions. Conway is not by any stretch of the imagination. Arnold, Weatherall you think's pretty good. And Twitt on the other wing, he's got enough pace to go with anybody. There he is himself, just driving it forward, and Brody used his body beautifully. Distributes it around. 24 Esquire, turning it back. Mark Naley's dragged it back in. He's pretty clever, the McGarry medalist, isn't he? Brings it back and kicks Sturt's third goal. They're 3-1-19. Central's a 2-3-15.
Well, their report card's starting to look pretty good. Centre breaks 4 to Sturt, 1 to Central District. And that's very important at the moment when you're kicking against the Breeze like this. The Atkinson mark was good, wasn't it? You talked about the appropriateness of him playing in a forward pocket, but I mean, use of the body there is good. All of his experience handed off to Squire, who was on the correct side. So I mean, they've got some real nous up there. As I said prior to the program, 10 games, 10 players over 100 games makes a lot of difference.
Bounce down again. This time Arnold gets his hand to the ball, then goes for the second effort, throws it on his non-preferred foot, his left, up towards Danny Holm. He couldn't take it. Working hard again was Robinson. Gives the ball back to Campbell. Campbell sits it up nicely there for Twitt. They've got players through the midfield. Great turnover from Slade. Allows Gowans to take it. Bello couldn't take the mark. Well, the crowd screaming. They thought it should have been paid. Running on the football there was Chris Gowans. And has he kicked his first for the afternoon? I don't think he has. It's a behind. So the fourth behind for the Bulldogs. They're 2-4-16. They trail the double blues on 3-1-19.
You look at the Bulldogs going forward. They seem to be quicker, faster, certainly more direct than we've seen them in recent seasons.
Quicker and faster.
Quicker, faster with their hands. I think they're the quickness of feet is one thing. Quickness of decision making of giving the ball away.
Yeah, got out of that one well.
There's another one.
Well done.
Gowans, this is James to Chris. They've got radar, these two. And I think somebody mentioned it earlier. McGowan, Gowan and Gowan are formidable, and they're really posing some problems.
They got a bit sloppy back here, Sturt, at the moment. Holm was screaming for the ball on the line, and Chris Threadgold was trying to cover 2 players. McCardle was out wide as well, and Gowans is going to back himself, and that's fair enough too, but they just got a bit sloppy, the double blues.
He's only 35 out, directly in front. Good kicking action for Chris. He makes no mistake this time. Puts it through. This is an interesting battle, isn't it? There's a real arm wrestle going on there at the moment. Seems to me that the Bulldogs are doing it just a little easier than Sturt.
Well, I think that's right, but they're able to attack the full face of the goal with that bruise behind their backs. That sloppiness I was talking about was with Bello and Gowans, who just seemed to be able to run free. Now, you wouldn't call it a mismatch necessarily, but Andrew Geddes has got Bello at the moment. Certainly much taller. be interesting to see whether he's got the agility to go with him.
Conway this time tries to dump the ball forward. Didn't gain much ground. The kick ends up with Twitt across to Squire. Squire heads it up towards Brody Atkinson. Atkinson couldn't take the mark and applies the tackle on McGowan. A good tackle again from Stevens on the youngster and Whiteman. As we see Rick McGowan just sitting on Brody Atkinson. A couple of experienced campaigners there. Again, this time Burton goes for the ball in there as Weatherall. Can't get his fist to the football. The man in white very quick to put the whistle to the mouth. Start proceedings once again. So the 21-minute mark nearly of this opening term sees the Bulldogs just 3 points in front as we see Squire around the body. Comes back to Rick McGowan. In there is Lennon. He threw the ball out. The free kick should come back to Lennon. Umpire pays the advantage. The kick up towards Woosnam. With great defensive work. Coming out is Graham. Quinton Graham, left hand inside to Whiteman. In fact, it wasn't one, it was Heath Hopwood for the Bulldogs. Well, they're just trying to keep possession here. Finally comes Stevens, overruns the football. Didn't sit for him. Geddes ends up with it. Goes for the long handball towards Jared Twitt. Takes off, has one bounce after 2 steps. Goes for the second. Made hard work of that again. Squire in the contest. Comes back with a long left foot pass, but he couldn't quite find a target up forward. And again, the captain for the Bulldogs, McGowan, takes a safe chest mark.
McGowan doing pretty good. Well, that was very clever. Squire. We've got one Magarey's. We've got 2 Magarey medalists out there. I just wonder with Magarey medal so close, Mark, whether there's not another Magarey medalist running out there.
This could be. I've got an apology to make to Danny Holm. I just called Rick McGowan the captain. In fact, Danny Holm is the Bulldogs captain.
Well, let's not start counting errors.
But you're right, Dave. There could be a couple of Gowans, don't count them. There could be. We've seen the Gowans boys a few times this year. They would share the votes, no doubt, when it comes to the umpires.
Holm suggesting McGowan are going to feature Magarey medal night. Well, that was a fierce contest, wasn't it? Woosnam did very well to thump it out the back door. There's some good contests currently. Stevens, that was Michael Stevens. Joey Hicks, under pressure, just did what he could to get boot to the ball. It was just enough as it turned out. Clever work by Campbell. Turns it around the corner. Well, Squire turned himself inside out. He was the proverbial Indian rubber man. Now it's Geddes releasing the ball. Again, Campbell. Further afield, it's Whiteman. At half forward, drills it. It was a short kick and a clever kick, because underneath this one's Brody Atkinson.
I mentioned before about Ricky McGowan and how prolific he's been in the middle of the ground. Whiteman's got him, and I thought early he was letting Rick just run and do his own business, but fair chance that the runner's gone out a couple of times. He's got a bit closer, and McGowan hasn't been quite the influence that you may have otherwise expected.
Brody's going to kick from about 30 metres out. Laconic style, just walks in almost. Just makes the distance. Was it touched? No, says the goal umpire. It's a goal to Atkinson. So the double Blues go to 3 points ahead from 3 points down. It's a real seesaw, this one. And to my mind, it's just warming up as a contest.
Well, I think the judges would have Sturt ahead on points at the moment, given that they're into that breeze, and Central have been pretty efficient, I suppose, in the latter part of the quarter. So not a bad term for Sturt, so long as, Mark, when they turn around and have their go with the breeze, they make the most of it.
Well, you were down there before the start of the game. Just how much effect has the breeze out there at this stage of the game?
Well, I'm tipping it's 3 or 4 goals.
That much?
Well, it doesn't look like it, as I said, with the sock, but it's quite fluky behind you.
The ball's gone in forward. Kynan Ford couldn't take the mark. Again, at the bottom of the pack is the Bulldog captain and Danny Holm.
Good crowd.
Couldn't quite release. Yeah, good crowd this afternoon. Well, good conditions. Bit overcast this morning, but the blue skies are here and the sun is shining. And Dave Mackay, the grass is green.
Yes, thanks for that. That's a Mark Naileyism. We thank you for that one yet again. It'll be famous. It's a bit like the old Jack Dyer. I think you're making a few of those your own. And good work over the top of that was Heath Hopwood. But deliberate, says the umpire, so perhaps it was not so good. Corey Jones will take the free kick. Good athlete, clever use of the ball. Drives it deep in the pocket. Underneath this one, Lennon, just outside 50. We're 25 minutes in. Hope you're enjoying this match throughout South Australia and the Northern Territory. Squire, well, he's well and truly inside 50, but look at this. Clever work, chips it over, not so clever. Conway was the target, the former Central District player and former Wagga player, to the goal square, and underneath this one, Arnold finally takes one. He's had two big flies and missed both. This time he jumps and grabs it. Pushes it out. Hicks. Over the top, quick one to his brother Joey, who runs out of play. Probably the sensible thing to do, as it turns out. And a very good crowd at Elizabeth Oval enjoying this encounter.
The ball thrown back in again. Thurston overran the football. Coming up with his Brucey Lennon. He's taken one on the hip or the back, but he is paid the free kick. So the Red Sharon gets put to the top of the square. It's not an awkward kick, but at the back of the pack there was Burton. The umpire paid. I don't think he had. He's called play on. Coming up with again was Arnold. Handballs the ball. He legged in that occasion. I think he might have been. And has received the free kick. So clearing from the last line of defence is the big ruckman, Damien Arnold. Just chips the ball forward. He's trying to find the running player in Damien Hicks. He does that well. Pirouettes back, gets back onto his right leg, then gets around another double Blues player. The kick goes forward to Sam McCarthy. He couldn't take it. Marco Bello and Danny Holm, well, they can share it between them. Good support by Bello. Gives a bit of time there for the captain. And a good kick down the line ends up with Hamlin. Hamlin keeps the ball fairly wide and fairly tight. We're taking a saving mark. He's Xavier Campbell. He gets the ball moving quickly. Goes forward to Jade Sheedy. Sheedy will come back inboard. Dangerous, but does find Damien Squire. Squire wants to get the ball moving. The umpire saw it. He calls play on. Matty Powell, left leg, just tries to spot a player forward. Again, 13 is Xavier Campbell. He too goes down the line. A better kick and finds Geddes.
Sheedy's finding a bit of the ball now, and Geddes forward. Burton well down from full forward.
Well, he's really a centre half forward at the moment. Just, I think Thurston's back there, I think, playing more of a stationary full forward. I think Burton is covering the loss of Stephen White at centre half forward.
Might be dead right, Mark. Arnold, high over the top, Whiteman, kick forward. Burton played on, it was touched off the boots of the umpire and called play on. So Burton did very well. Turning it around the corner with Squire into a little bit of space. Atkinson goes hard at it. Hicks was there. At the back, it's Danny Stevens, Michael Stevens. And short to Arnold. Well, Arnold's been pretty mobile today. He's causing some problems for Conway. Just on the defensive 50. Clever work. This is Daniel Stevens, exploding away out of the midfield. A long ball towards half forward. Ford missed it. Second effort was good. Just flicks it back out. Goes again. Third effort was good, but the siren sounded. It's a three-point ball game at quarter time. Tricky, I guess you haven't seen much SANFL footy this year. And perhaps the first quarter, you'd be happy with the finish, but not so happy with the start.
Oh, look, I think they worked each other out for a little while, and then when the game opened up, you saw, from the double Blues point of view, you started to see a bit more of Lennon, a bit more of Atkinson, and certainly a bit more of Squire. And I think when those better players get hold of the ball more frequently, you see some better quality of football. And on the other side, you had Holm playing very well, McGowan doing his little bit in the middle of the ground. But I would think that Central will be pretty disappointed, David. They've gone with that 3 or 4 goal breeze. They've not been able to make the most of it. As I said to Mark halfway through, what matters now is whether or not the double Blues can make the most of it when they have it at their back in this second term.
So quarter time scores, David. Just indicated at the moment a good game of football with Central District. They're 3-4-22. They trail the double Blues on 4 goals, 1-25. And you're watching the action on ABC Sport. Well, that's the siren that starts the second quarter. Obviously 3-4-22, a 3-point margin to the double Blues. We see the boys come at it pretty hard. Danny Holmes from behind, gives the handball inside. Arnold does it as well. Well, again, Matty Slade, he's just there to cover and backs up his players. Gets the ball up forward quickly. From behind was Geddes, couldn't take the mark. Comes to ground. Back there was Threadgold. With him was Kynan Ford. And again, it's been very good tackling out there so far this afternoon. And we see the Double Blues bench there, just waiting for their opportunity to come on.
Mature down the far end. Can't help but think that that long raking left boot with this light breeze might be just as an advantage. Going hard at it, Sheedy. 2-on-1 in the contest. I think he did well to find the boundary line. We're just on a minute in to the second term.
You blokes haven't got some oxygen or a respirator, have you?
Triggy's been down for the to the boundary, everyone. And as you get older, I guess those stairs get a little higher, Triggy. I've done that for years myself.
I get puffed just having to talk on camera now.
Murray Hamlin towards full forward. Big fly up and down. Robertson just couldn't quite get there. McArdle was clever to Chris Gowns. Caught undecided what to do in the final analysis.
Kick.
And that's come in beautifully done with Stevens. Just put it through and finished it off beautifully.
Well, that's what they wanted. Sturt did it to them in the first term by scoring first up against the wind. And that's a good kick. Just that little bit of carry. You can see it holding up there. But that will give them the belief and they have the ability to score into the wind and sets it up for a really interesting remainder of the second term.
Well, the goal's gone. Daniel Stevens, his first for the afternoon. That puts the Bulldogs back in front. They're 4-4. Double Blues on 4-1. Conway gets his hand on the ball. Bellows there to clean up. Couldn't take it. Squire, good hands inside of Brucey Lennon. With a quick kick by Bruce Lennon. Hasn't favoured the Double Blues. Well, he ducks his head. The umpire has to call play on. Well, he paid the free kick, then paid the advantage. Still, the Bulldogs have got it. That's Joey Hicks down the line with a kick looking for Scotty Lee. Got one hand up, couldn't take it. Stevens is there again. He too was tackled very quickly. Sam McArdle sporting double black armbands this afternoon. And Scotty Lee, he's there. He's over the top of the football. Head down, gets the ball now to boot. Heads to the top of the square, kind of forward. Well, he was, I believe, held without the football. Dave Mackay disagrees with me. The Double Blues come up with it, go for the safety of the boundary line. Was that deliberate?
Now, I reckon our umpiring's been pretty good this year, Mark. There's been no soft, tiggy touchwood free kicks, and I don't want to start seeing them now.
Yeah, but you still need to have both arms when you are going for a mark. You can't have one held.
Comment Mark Nayley.
Oh.
Maloney there, that was the little pretend trying to get out of it.
Didn't have a lot of real desire to get rid of it, did he?
Bounce down. Conway, front position, dumps it towards the boundary line. McGowan over the top of it, did it pretty well. I think the Central District fans were looking for a free kick. The umpire was having none of that. And there's another one that finds touch and a throw in. There's a pretty good crowd here, Triggy, you've got to say.
Oh, it's beautiful. I was just thinking down there a moment ago that the sun's shining. It's really quite pleasant. Why wouldn't you want to come out and stand on the mound and barrack for your local team?
Interesting decision there. Arnold pushing one way and Conway trying to push back into the contest to get his hand to the football.
Just took him a bit high, didn't he?
Just took him a little bit high in the contest. But, well, Geddes takes the mark. Gets the ball moving quickly back to Powell. Now, Powell thumps the ball. Squire nearly took it. In fact, it wasn't Squire. It's number 23, not 24. It's Corey Jones. The ball's knocked forward by Brucey Lennon. Keeps it alive. Ventura couldn't take it. Good hands and tight by Rick McGowan. Again, the Bulldogs may have kicked their second for the quarter. I think it was Scotty Lee that ended up with it. Yep. It was. That's the fifth one for the Bulldogs. They now go to a 9-point margin over the Double Blues.
Well, they're just working that little bit harder at the moment, getting some football and first access at it. That means you can do something with it. The protection was okay, and Scott Lee, some power in that leg, and lots of experience here at Elizabeth Oval. Just knew what the breeze was doing to be able to punch it at that left post.
First 3 quarters of his career were played out of the back pocket. He really has become a useful forward pocket player.
An agitating forward instead of an agitating defender.
It's not bad, is it? This fellow's been pretty good today. Home towards half forward. That was free. Oh, he was dragged right out of the contest, Stevens. Play on, says the umpire. Now he's back in it. smothered off the boot. The ball dropped short. McArdle goes hard, overran it almost, crashing through and doing it pretty well was Sheedy. Into space, Squire, claimed by Joey Hicks, and the umpire says, we'll just let this flow a bit. And Arnold roves it and goes for goal. That was a training run. First on the board to Arnold. And look at this, it's a blowout, 15 points the margin, when just a few minutes ago it was 3 points in favour of the Double Blues.
Well, I hate to say it, Sturt had a couple of lazy ones there, sitting back across their half-forward line, or half-back line, centre line. They let their players drift down, so strangely enough, Central had the greater numbers in their forward line, which can sometimes work against you, but if you get free, it can be very hurtful. So those Double Blues were banking on winning the ball and then fleeing down the ground, but they didn't get it. And now all of a sudden, as David said, 15 points of difference. There's a very hurtful little patch.
Double Blues need something. Well, that's the first touch there for Conway. Comes down. Squire will take the free kick. He'll put this ball, no doubt, over the 50-metre line. He does that. Coming out hard was Thurston. Burton overrun it. Also did Woosnam. Crashing and hard, like it was again, Jones. A little kick forward. Does favour Gowans. He's taken high. The umpire calls play on, but he wants to come back to square up. Well, the football's near him, but they don't want a part of it, because Gowans, with him is Jones. And the high ball coming back. Good voice there by Conway, who should have gone for it, because Burton couldn't see it. Conway could. This allows the Bulldogs to take the ball. They carry it across the forward line. The umpire's down at half forward for the Double Blues. You're going to hear the crowd reaction in the background. Squire, well, he needs support. As he got it, he has this time. Like Brucey Glennon across to Wetherill. Good tackle by Danny Holm. This gives Bello a chance to put the ball up forward for the Bulldogs. Player loose by himself as Sam McArdle gives a handball out wide of the Scotty lead. He doubles back, comes back again onto his right leg. Again, the discipline, head to the top of the square. Who's up there? Gowans, but a good mark taken by Christopher Threadgold.
It was a good mark. They needed to settle it down a bit. Under some siege, and he's been around for a long time, Threaders, and just needed to take that one, settle it. This is just the ticket for them at the moment, because there's a couple of boys in Double Blues jumpers that have just lost where they're at the moment. Team kicks 2 or 3 quick ones like that. You've got to find your man and run with him, and I don't really see that around the ground at the moment. I see a lot of spare red, white and blue jumpers.
I think that's a very good point, Triggy. Central have manned up
Like
pretty
this
well.
one.
Yep, there's a classic case. You picked it in one. Chris Gowans, long towards full forward, jumper held by Ford. Didn't matter anyway, and the Ford saying, hang on, umpire, if I didn't take the mark, he was dragging me. You should have blown the whistle well before I got to the mark.
You see what happens here, and as someone who's played fullback more often than you really would have liked, given that it's the hot seat, you look at Chris Threadgold and you say, oh, well, should have done this, should have done that. What should have happened is that Chris Gowans should never have got the ball as easily as he did, and to be able to use the ball as happily and freely as he did through the middle of the ground.
So Ford, who's kicked 22 goals from his 15 games, it's been a pretty positive contribution from centre half forward this year. Misses.
Well, that would have really hurt. So that's a major let-off. Presents himself pretty well, doesn't he, the big fella down there, by the way?
He's only 22.
Just on 198 centimetres, so he's a very tall lad.
And gives a contest.
Threadgold brings the ball back in, goes for the short to Power, then gets the handball back from Matty Power. This time he goes out wider. Just coming on there's McEwen. A good mark taken by the big fella. Giving Conway a bit of a rest in ruck. Then the kick wasn't good. But somehow the bounce has favoured Brucey Lennon. Support is good. Robinson across the twit. Twit back to Robinson. He can kick a ball a country mile, but goes with a short pass forward. That's good. Again, this big fella, he is causing a few headaches for the Bulldogs' defence.
What'd you call him, Triggy? Thurston Howell the third. We just call him Lovey, will we?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's right.
We're 1 goal, 1 behind. A couple of shots at goal. Should have had 2 at this stage of the game. But he's lining up for his second. Now that's a good ball off the boot. I think he has the distance as well. That's his second. So Thurston Howell, well done, fella.
Much needed goal, wasn't it? Just to steady the ship, to talk about Gilligan's Island, to steady that ship down a little bit, the SS Minnow, because it was just starting to get a bit rocky. And kicking with that breeze, they needed to settle it down. Lennon's into the middle, and that will give him some punch out of there. I just wonder, though, we talked about Brodie Atkinson earlier, whether a bit of his fizz in the middle of the ground might not be useful when the opposition was running rampant for the first 10 minutes.
Even in bursts, just 10-minute burst let him...
He's been okay down there, by the way, but you just wonder about how effective he might otherwise be in the middle of the ground.
Is he coming back from a knee injury?
He's had a bit of a knee, but, well, I think as David said quite rightly, maybe he's being saved up for that burst a little later in the game.
Fair enough, Squire. That was Jade shooting. Burton. Well, Davey overran it, and it's going to cost him a goal, you'd think, wouldn't you? As Woosden marks directly in front, he's pretty accurate generally.
Central about to make a change with Arnold off. Number 33 coming onto the ground is that Paul Scholar.
A couple of years since coming across from West Adelaide. Phil Carman has got him fit and firing. Misses that time. Doesn't miss a lot.
The first game for Paul Scholar. 23 years of age. He's a big fella, 203 centimetres. So no doubt to be playing in the ruck. So keep an eye on him. Squire, it's a high ball. Atkinson should take this. Voice from behind was good. He's got Burton on the lead. The kick, will Burton take it? Had Gowans coming down very hard, but a good mark out front taken by Julian Burton.
Might have mentioned earlier that Scholar was on the Sturt interchange, which is blue, obviously, but they started with Patura, McEwen and Curtis in those positions because of White's absence. But Scholar in the Central District jumper looks pretty good, doesn't he?
You didn't need to highlight that, Tricky, because what actually happens, Mark highlights my errors and I highlight his. You don't need to actually nominate your own. We let our visitor off.
Well, there's Burton. He loves to kick a goal. I think he's got that one. He's gone back for a quick drink and a bit of a push and shove on Gowans. No love lost between those two players. It's the first one for Julian Burton for the day, and the Bulldogs, well, they still lead by 3 points. The last 2 goals have been kicked by the Double Blues.
Well, with the early flurry that Central District came out with, they really have steadied it up pretty well at the moment, and the Central District crowd, very pro-Central crowd here, have gone quiet just for a moment. And Peter Jonas would have started to feel a little bit easier, but all of a sudden, back on the hot seat again, and the game closes up once more.
Well, it's back to 3 points. Gee, we worried that Sturt were just losing touch, and they're showing a bit of grit, a bit of character. They've shown flashes of that this year. Lennon couldn't get the handball clear from the midfield. McEwen gets it away, and good work, Joe Hicks. Gee, he's an improved defender too, Stephen, if you haven't seen much of this.
I have seen him. I have seen him, and he's very reliable, isn't he? He's not making too many blues back there.
Well, that was a great fly by Robinson, wasn't it? And he's hurt himself. This fellow is like a trapeze artist. He just goes high and hard.
Oof.
Yep.
Had a good couple of minutes. That pass a moment or two ago to Thurston's was excellent as well.
Geddes, Hopwood drops it. Getting clear was Jones, pirouetting out of trouble, the left footer, spears it in towards Brodie, one-handed attempt, read it beautifully. Oh, that's too high. And the umpire says play on because Brodie's just attacking them, and he's drilled it. Well, he has cut this game to pieces, Brodie. 2 goals in a quarter and a bit, but the way he's done that just shows a fair amount of class.
Just finished saying, hadn't we, about wondering whether he could be important in the middle of the ground. And he bobs up with a couple of important plays, including that goal. So making a menace of himself down there with his experience and turning opposition inside out. Didn't waste much time, went straight on with it, used the breeze, hit it at the right post, came back beautifully. So just about the copybook approach for a forward pocket player.
And Brodie Atkins, his second shot at goal this afternoon, has given him 2. We see 6-5, play 7-2, a 3-point margin now. The Double Blues. McEwen gets his hand on the ball. Brucey Lennon. Well, the umpire needs to make a decision. He didn't. Now he does. And Bello comes up with him. Common sense should prevail here. The umpire brings it back. Ooh, as Bello and Danny Holm comes in. Wants to have a piece of
Maloney.
It's like Maloney or McEwen. Which one is it? It's Maloney's.
What do you reckon?
Oh, well, McGowan's got the ball.
Just having some fun up there.
Yep, in the middle of the ground. He needs to get the ball moving quickly because the Double Blues have got back and filled the holes. McEwen gets his hands to it, couldn't bring it to ground. Danny Holm front and centre takes it, but had nowhere to go. Across to Marco Bello now. He gave the handball. And he went to Matty Power. Good mark inside by Whiteman. Gives it across to the running Woosnam. Now he puts the ball high. Where's Thurston? He's up, he was held or taken high. The umpire calls play on. First and second effort at ground level. Well, the big fella got down there, just can't shovel the football out. And again, the Bulldogs defence, led by Hicks, just keeps the ball in the area.
Joyce Cooper enjoying the footy. Goes to every game, just about every training session. Has been for a long time. Went through some pretty painful years with some colleagues at Unley. Enjoying some much better times, David, these days.
Yes, I'm sure she was very sorry to see you go as coach of Sturt, Stephen.
Really, she came out with some rose petals when I left and threw them behind. Just to say, good riddance.
Buried the dead. Well, they're die-hard Sturt supporters, aren't they? Well, like the Scholar, Hicks, McGowan, right on the boundary line. He'll be picking up votes today again. Good work, McEwen. He's made a bit of an impact since replacing Conway and Ruck, and just sense that the tide has turned. He's mobile and he's taken a couple of good marks. Pushed the ball back in the forward line a couple of times. Hopwood up and down, free kick, and it's a Sturt free kick. Burton was pushed out of the contest, said the umpire. Kevin Chambers, he's pretty experienced. Let's just see how it all was.
Had nowhere to go. Wasn't much in that.
He lost his balance to start with.
Well, I wasn't going to be critical. It looked like it fell over to me. You can sometimes be tricked by that, though, can't you?
Well, he does look better, David, coming out of full forward, doesn't he? The leading player coming forward.
And this fellow's
from
attacking.
the square.
Yeah, when he's running hard and running through blokes and opening up holes, I think that's his value to the Double Blues. There was a while there he went into his shell and didn't give them much impact at all. That's a very good kick.
He certainly can kick.
Is that his third? It is. So he's an impact player, Burton, and when he's tough and hard at it, I think he was a bit lucky, Tricky, to get that free kick, but either way, he's finished it and made the most of it.
Style of kicking is pretty important and worth a lesson here. Just watch the kick through the ball. Ball drops beautifully, follows through on line, doesn't chip at it.
Head over it.
He really is a very good kick, and someone who's kicked as many goals as he has, you'd expect that from him. In his 140-odd games, over 230 goals, and it's now 9 points the difference.
Well, opportunity now to see Scholar up against McEwen. The ball favours Scholar. He gets his hand on the ball down. There is Wetherill pissed from him. Looked like Brucey Lennon. Holmes there, needs to sit. Will it? But he keeps control of the footy. Then he's sat upon, knocks the ball out, tries to find. Looked like the players at Gowans or was it Hopwood? Just wait for him to get up. I think it is Hopwood. It's not much of him. A bit of courage there shown by the youngster. Comes up with the ball. And drop punts it out wide. Oh, good mark. Scholar, quick hands across to Scotty Lee. Lee puts it high. Who's up forward? Where is Ford? He's out in front again. Was he held? Umpire calls play on, and that's a free kick. You put your body over the football, which Corey Jones did. You can't be sat upon. Oh, he's not happy.
Looks like a player, Paul Scholar, by the way, doesn't he? We had him in a Sturt Guernsey earlier, but first tap out there was neat and direct, and then he took a good mark, so just a snapshot of his ability. Looks pretty good.
Maloney on the left to Atkinson, 45 metres out directly in front. Now this distance will trouble Brody, so he'll try to get it on quickly and find a target. Who's he got? He goes long to the unprotected goal square, bit of a push and a shove.
Was he?
Well, it was well done by Wooston because Brody was never going to make the distance otherwise. Brody's got his third. We talked about impact players. Well, perhaps if he wasn't in the forward line, the Double Blues would be in a bit of bother.
Oh, precisely. Leave him there. Wouldn't have thought anything different. Mind you, when we were talking about it, Central kicked 3 in a row and things were looking a bit grim. But he, as I said before, you've got that experience. Full face of the goal like that, give it a chance, or give Woosnam a chance. As you said, he doesn't have the penetration in his leg, but didn't mess around going wide. And that was what Phil Carman talked about at quarter time was, you know, don't be tricked into blasting it. Just go long, direct, use the corridor. And they've done it pretty well.
Well, he's had 7 possessions so far in this game. He's kicked 3 goals out of those 7. So he's done well so far. Well, the Bulldogs were up by 15. They're down by 15, but Danny Holm puts them forward again. That wasn't a mark.
Oh, there was
or
a mark.
Was it?
Oh, there was a mark.
Did it carry?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
Am I seeing things?
Well, you've had every defender holding a forward today.
Well, we'll look at this.
Oh, I don't know why. Well, we're only 300 metres away. Why you would suggest that it didn't
That's
carry?
hit the ground. That has hit the ground. It's a half volley. It's a pickup.
1 Nails, 0 Mackay.
39-year-old's eyes, that's what they are. Oh, elbow. Well, it's kept in. Slade can't take it. Good work by Twitt. He keeps the ball in to Marco Bello. Twitt just tucks it under the arm and puts it out of the line. Geddes just gives him a little peck on the side of the cheek. Well done, youngster. Gets to his feet. Timmy Weatherall comes across, just pats him on the shoulder. Bit of acknowledgement there for the hard work. Well, Ford gets through two, couldn't get through the third one. Gets the ball out again.
Oh.
Comes inside again. Good hands by Stevens. Didn't find the target. Back to Stevens again. Can spot a player short. Has he found Scotty Lee? I think he has. Good mark by Scotty. Found that little bit of space. Takes the mark and should convert.
Good use of the ball, wasn't it, by Stevens? Instead of just blasting, knew exactly what he was doing there. Checked his kick and gave Scott Lee every good chance. And you'd back him, I would think, from this range. The only thing that's difficult about this is looking into the sun.
And he squints the eyes and puts it through. The applause indicates it's another goal. That's his second for the afternoon. So 47 plays, 56. And Scotty Lee, well, he's had 9 possessions so far in this game as well.
Sturt have kicked 5 this term. Central have kicked 4. So talked about the breeze probably too much so far, and maybe it's been overrated because both sides have been able to score into it. And sometimes that happens, doesn't it? Because you tend to use the ball that little bit better and work that little bit harder. And perhaps both sides have demonstrated a bit of that so far. When they've decided to do everything right, they've been able to score quite freely.
Sturt lead by 9 points. They led by 3 points at quarter time. Going up and down was Paul Schooler. He gave us his dimensions before. Tricky, 203 centimetres and 99 kilograms. So he's got a fair bit of size about him.
The mini league, I think they're at Evanston today, aren't they? The Evanston primary school, or that team.
10 was Michael Stevens getting the ball out of the middle. Sheedy tackled.
Oh, good tackle.
Beautifully done by Hamblin. He's an improved player this year, Hamblin too. In fact, you'd put him in their first 7 or 8 players on his form this year. Unheralded player. In other matches around town, you'll like this one, Triggy. North by 1 point. What about this one, Nails?
Well, it would have been blowing a gale, no doubt, down in Noongar this afternoon. There's a bit of a breeze here. Be a hurricane at Noongar.
South Adelaide by 16 points over West Adelaide. And you'd suspect that if they win, they really are a chance for 5th spot. As Bello goes goal, but he's already got one. Geddes up and down. Did that pretty easily.
Read it well, didn't he? And they're just holding out at the moment, Sturt. Central have upped the rating a fraction in the last few moments in response to Sturt's flood of goals. And yeah, I think you've mentioned the term before, an arm wrestle. It continues to be that, with neither side really getting much of a break. 23.5 minutes gone.
Gallons does love pushing his weight around. He just put the hand in the face of the big fella then when he got up. And good umpiring. He saw the indiscretion and paid it against Gowans. Danny Holm tries to spoil the ball from Weatherall. He's up quickly. Got a player loose. And does use well. Well, that's a good kick. Has he found his target? I don't think he has. Again, it was Thurston. Couldn't quite get his hands to the ball. And the ball's out over the boundary line. We're 24 minutes into the second quarter. Double Blues.
Interesting
Still
move,
there by
Mark.
9 points.
Andrew Whiteman has come off. Paul Carman's made the change. Michael Curtis gets to run with McGowan. 4 on 23. You can see both players there. Oh, look at that. It's just strength, wasn't it? Brody's got 4.
Oh, he's missed it.
No, he's missed it. 3 goals, 1 to Brody from 6 kicks. From 5. Yes, from 6 kicks.
Gee, strong work there by Julian Burton in the goal square. Just pushed his player, and his player moved about 5 metres.
9 possessions for Ricky McGowan so far, so you'd have to say that Whiteman has done pretty well given how very useful Ricky McGowan was last week and what a good player he is. So it's a pretty good assignment so far.
They're going to rotate them, rest them and fire them.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Well done, Twitt. Takes it, gives it back, knocked it down towards Wisdom around his body. He's gone across too far. It looks like he has. So another behind to the Double Blues. 9-4, 58. They now move out to 11-point margin.
Michael Stevens chiding himself there because he let Woosnam get hold of the footy, and Woosnam not so pleased with himself because he blasted at the goals as well. So I thought Dean maybe had an opportunity just to do a little bit better than that.
Yeah, had time to turn. Also straighten the body. Ball's kicked him back in by Damien Hicks towards Rick McGowan. A good tackle, good clean up by the double blues. It goes forward again, going back there. Damien Hicks takes a good mark, wishes to play on. He does, takes a bounce. Now needs to play it loose. Goes out wide again.
Spoil.
Tim Weatherall just gets an arm across there, enough to push the ball out over the boundary line and keep the ball virtually inside their forward 50.
That's exactly right, Mark. Little things like that can make a difference. Instead of the Bulldogs screaming away down centre wing, as they've done a couple of times, that just holds them up. Gives Sturt another chance.
We're 26 minutes in.
The little things win games, David, isn't that how the saying goes?
Well, 1%ers. The things that coaches strive for. I mean, anyone can kick a ball and mark a ball. The ones that tackle, smother and put their body on the line that generally can get you across the line. Particularly in games like this, when it doesn't look to me as though it's going to be a high-scoring game. And in fine conditions, we might have thought we were in for a shootout. Instead, we've got an arm wrestle. Phil Carman. So you can just remember I used to watch John Cale age. Neville Roberts does it. I reckon Phil Carman's in their league. They just seem to age 10 years in a coach's box on an afternoon. See them the next day, they look years younger. Holm, forward. McArdle caught underneath that contest. Clever work, Maloney off to Twitt. Twitt explodes away with a little bit of pace, uses the ball well to the forward line.
Good
Brody Atkinson, slick and quick. Toby Thurston's one step, steadies on the right boot. We talked about his kicking action. He's pretty straight most of the time, but he's popped that one through. That's his second. So the big full forward is, that's his third, in fact. Thanks, Nails. And he's really providing a bit of a focal point.
Sure is. And again, Brody Atkinson involved in something here that didn't quite find the body with the handball. The competition from Weatherall was really good, but Brody, you could just tell he was prepared to run at an opponent, try and take him out of the contest, and then hand it back. That it didn't find the body didn't matter because Thurston's was good enough. So a really important late goal for them. And this now is the biggest lead of the match.
64 plays 47. Knocked down again by the big fella in Scholar. The kick forward by McGowan. Well, they're in front. It's Gowans, but a good pick-up. They need a goal, the Bulldogs. And that's not one, that's another behind.
Tim Cook gearing up to come on. I'm looking forward to seeing Tim play. He, an old Crows squad member and a really good player at this level. I reckon he'll give them some bite around the packs, and an important player to come on, you'd think.
Well, he's got the experience, hasn't he? The pace.
And there's about 30 seconds left in the second quarter, so it's going to be interesting to see whether he does get a possession.
No, but it tells you a little bit about where the Bulldogs are this year. When a fit Tim Cook spends quite a bit of time in the reserves. I think he kicked, what, 6 goals or so a few weeks back. Still couldn't find a position in the side. Gowans and McGowan, Bello, we're all keeping him out. And I guess that's where can he play? And Slade was doing a good job.
Oh, it's good selection pressure, isn't it? Because if you've got a player of that quality who needs to play well to get back in, when he does get back in, he's in good form and keeps the boys who are in the first on their toes. So just what you need. And I would suggest that one of the really noticeable things about Central this year, David, is their even performance. And everybody just doing their bit. And obviously Tim's going to now need to do his bit to stay in the side.
I think that's a good comment. When you've got your vice-captain in the reserves, things are strong. Well done, Brody Atkinson. Joe Hicks wrapped him up. But look who's there too. McGowan, who's in the thick of things at every contest. And Hopwood, who's been a fine player this year, is just having a dose of the fumbles today. Probably having a day that he'd rather forget.
Bustle Brody.
Gary medalist. I don't think you'll see him polling this year. McGowan, quick one out. Holm at the bottom of the pack. What does the umpire say? Cop one in the back and a free kick. Distributes around Stevens. Wider still Slade running. Can use the handball. Needs to give the handball in actual fact.
Well done, Brody. Backed off and did well.
Yes, forced it.
There's the result. That's a really... Just didn't need to jump, did he? But they've still turned it over. The tackle was a bit sloppy, but Maloney now with a chance to give it back to Central.
Yep, Slade. You're right about Brody. I was going to let you finish that comment. It was very clever by Brody. Triggy, and that is a very good mark out there, taken by McEwen.
Joe Hicks off for Tim Cook.
I wonder what that's about. Powell, had his hands full early. McGowan just comes in late. We're 30.5 minutes in. And Curtis, who's his direct opponent and has the job really of tagging him, but if Curtis can pick up a few at the same time, it's going to be a valuable contribution. Stevens was dragged off it. Holm missed it. Trapped and taken. Campbell goes backwards. Now Brody has got Lilico on him right now, so they've made the change. Squire, wasteful kick. He wastes very few kicks, Squire.
Burton's not happy. Burton was free. He had 5 metres on his opponent.
Gowan,
Screaming out for the football.
2 options, decides to take the long one. Opportunity for Quentin Graham. On to the left he goes. Pushes into space. Marco Bella front position. Uncontested mark. Now, Powell just doesn't seem to be... He's running up and down on the spot today. Matty Powell.
Agreed.
He's either not fully fit or just having one of those terrible days. And look, here's the result of it all.
No.
The siren has sounded. He was running into the open goal, Danny Stevens. And the siren has sounded. Central's a 7-6. Sturt a 10 goals for. Have a look at that, fella. 16 points at half-time when Sturt led by 3 points. And at one stage, perhaps about 8 minutes into the quarter, Central's led by 15 points, and we thought the game was being shot to pieces.
Yes, and then all of a sudden Sturt started to get inside, started to get some of the footy and started to use it themselves, and they just lost control of the game for a little while there, but they got it back and then they started to score because people presented themselves like Julian Burton and Brody Atkinson. Thurston's kicked 2 for the quarter as well. In fact, Atkinson, Burton and Thurston's all kicked 2 in that term, which gives them that threefold attack that's pretty good. But I tell you what, is that sometimes you say you make your own luck in footy, but for 5 seconds, if in the end Central lose by a goal or less, 5 seconds could have cost them the game, because that was a pretty important run into goal. And the other thing, Mark, by the way, is that if in fact he kicked that goal, they go down very confident and happy in themselves. So I'd say Sturt have, well, they'd be pretty pleased with themselves at the moment.
Yes, a very good half of football, just considering the score from last week. And we just see there at the moment the full scores at halftime indicate the Bulldogs, they're 7-6-48. The Double Blues are on 10-4, 64, a 16-point margin favouring the Bulldogs. And you're watching the SANFL on ABC Sport.
Start of the second term, 10-4 to 7-6. ABC Sport bringing you the SANFL football on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Weatherall back of the pack, pumps it inside half forward. Scott Lee attacked it with some real fervour, switched to half back, obviously, maybe even the back pocket. He finds some space. Central District needing an early one, I think, just to get back in touch and, again, get some self-belief going that they can run over the top of Sturt, as most of their supporters would be looking for.
Central bench, Joey Hicks down that far end. Scholler, the foreground, the new ruckman in his first game.
Did all right too, I thought. He came on. McEwen was also, he made the change there with Conway. Did a very serviceable job again. And that's Conway booting the ball back in the forward line for the Double Blues. Over the top, Burton, well, just a little bit too aggressive. He's given away the free kick on Damien Hicks. So
They've got one spare if they're quick. They've got Arnold way free.
Well, that's the direction that it's going. Arnold will take this, should run on with the football. Straightens up the body, it's good to see. Then pumps the ball towards Kynan for the jump. The one hand was up, couldn't bring it to ground. Back there is Matty Powell for the Double Blues. Will he had vision for the boundary line? Will it make it? I don't think it will. Across there quickly is Marco Bello. The left legger just turned straight and should have hit the target, and Cook didn't. Coming across was 25. Again for the Double Blues and Lilico. Looks like he's been lining up now. Well, the umpire is letting the ball go. It hasn't stopped. Finally, Sheedy comes up with it. He too has vision for the boundary line. This time will it make it? It does before Bello could get there.
I think Stephen Trigg was going through the stats earlier, fellas. You'll see there Patura warming up in the foreground. Kevin Sheedy, Phil Carman. I was going to say Phil Carman, the Kevin Sheedy of... No, I was talking about Jade Sheedy, who's had more kicks on the ground than any other player up till half-time, and yet we've hardly really called him.
Snuck up on us, didn't he? Possession-wise, obviously Lennon and Atkinson and so forth are doing pretty well, but Sheedy's also had his fair share of possessions, and reasonably unobtrusively so. A bit sore there, Gowns. Trying not to show it. Very hard, isn't he? But a little bit sore. Plenty of players inside that Half forward line for Central. 2.5 minutes gone, 64-48, no change to the score.
Tricky, the Bulldogs, when they've been in trouble in previous years, have slowed it right down. I think they started under Alan Sturt. They just slow it down, take the momentum out of the other side, and then they try and fight their way back. And it just looks to me at the moment that's their strategy right now.
Well, they'd want to get it into their full forward line quickly and cleanly. And obviously, Peter Jonas is looking for some space by sending all of those players down into the goal square, work forward to the ball into the space and try and do something differently there. It might tell you a bit about how he's feeling that his key position forwards are going. At the moment, they're spread far and wide, though, so that plan A doesn't seem to have worked much. And the ball goes across the boundary line on the far side. Again, it's 64-48, 16 points the difference.
Chris Gowan's on screen, Nails. We saw him take a heavy one to left the screen right down in the forward line. Seems that left arm is still giving him some problems.
Yes, it does. Seem to be a little bit sore at the moment. If it was any worse, no doubt he'd be off. Another player on today, but he's out there. He's done a pretty good job up to half-time.
Just a little flat spot here that'll suit Sturt, won't it? They've burnt up, what, 3.5, nearly 4 minutes.
The scoreline hasn't changed yet. Bruce Lennon's there. What can he do? He just pushes Ricky McGowan out. Twit gets the ball forward. 23 was Jones. Gives it back to Brucey Lennon. Now he'll thump this ball up forward. Who's there? From behind was Thurston. Good work there by Michael Davey. Then gets the ball moving forward. Danny Holman into the boot, and he does just before he was tackled. Geddes needs to go back with the fly of the ball. Coming out hard was Maloney. Couldn't get to it. Lilico around his body. It's a good kick. Where's Cook? Couldn't get there. Irvin was there as well. I don't mean Campbell. I didn't even mean Irvin either. I think it was number 14. In fact, Scotty Robinson. Had to think about that one for a sec.
Take all the time you want, Nails.
Well, the game has slowed down. We might as well slow down a bit as well.
We won't highlight any Blues, but I think Nathan would be very tired because he played in the reserves just a little bit earlier.
Here we go. Bruce Lennon. He'll take it. He's got the running support out wide. He goes that direction. Well, Weatherall, what can you do? He needs to spot a player. The kick's gone back. Great courage there shown by Scotty Lead. But the ball's still alive. The free kick being found. It has as Scotty gets up. Ooh.
Well, Woosden did the damage. He really came in. Scotty Lee was backing back, as he does. Shows no sign of pulling out of any contest. And Woosden knew 2-on-1 he had to go hard at it. Was probably a little bit late, took a big fly. Once you're in the air, there are no air brakes.
Just every now and again in the game, you have to do your bit like that, don't you? And I think that Scotty's going to wake up, get out of bed tomorrow morning, be very sore on an ankle. Good mark taken in the middle of the ground.
But if you don't, you know, gee, coaches lose confidence in you quickly.
Curtis takes it, burns it because Hicks comes charging out, takes it. Flat-footed player, but they've still got plenty of run. Go towards centre wing, and that is a bit of wastage as well. It goes across the boundary line far side. Again, this will suit the Double Blues just to be wasting some time. Another couple of scores in Adelaide this afternoon. Glenelg just in front of North Adelaide. The two teams in 8th and 9th position, battling it out down there at the bottom end, and West Adelaide marginally in front of South Adelaide by 7 points.
Kick up again. Well, Maloney comes through, takes it. Good use of the legs. He just runs hard to Seamus Maloney, then delivers well. The last couple of times they've gone forward, the kick hasn't found the target. This time it does. It comes back to Whiteman. Whiteman now puts it up. Where's the big fella? 1, 2, 3 grabs again at it. The umpire paid, he hasn't. But he has the composure to go round, pick the ball up forward again towards Burton. Burton couldn't take the mark. Used his strength just to push the ball away. Which way the ball bounced? It hasn't. The goal umpire nearly fell over.
Wasn't very graceful, was it?
Feet. Well, it's come in to change direction. It comes towards Marco Bello. He goes down the line. Big fella and Arnold takes it. Bit of pushing and shoving between him and Geddes. The umpire brings Geddes back onto his mark. Now, what's his option? McArdle's up there. Timmy Cook. He goes a bit short with the kick towards Stevens. He couldn't take it. Maloney comes in with Tim Cook. And again, the ball just out over the line. It's inside 50 for the Bulldogs.
Sturt seems to have rallied just a little bit. Their defence is running. They're playing the corridor a little bit better. And I've not seen a Central District side for a year and a half missed so many targets.
You wouldn't have too many quarters where you go 7.5 minutes without an addition to the score in the third term either. And I continue to say it, Sturt are doing very well into what breeze there is here at Elizabeth Oval. Goes a little too high. Scott Lee takes it. Now you'll expect him to use the ball a bit better than the last couple of little forays into the forward line. Has a look at centre half forward. This has been a trouble spot for the Bulldogs this afternoon. Cook is down. So too is Geddes. Time and space, and goes a little bit wider, but just missed the target. Lets Central in. That could be a very fatal blue, because in comes Gowns. Works it around the body and finds Bello, but the spoiler's put on just in the nick of time by Threadgold. Off hands Cook.
Tackle.
The tackle's pretty good, and we'll have a bounce down 15 to 20 metres.
That was Powell. You can't see him, but Powell was unbelievable. He had 3 points that he had to go to, and he got to every one of them. Got great coverage. Just didn't commit himself too far one way, too far the other way. In the finish, he saved a goal.
Well, knocked down again. They're trying to clear from defence of the double blues. Conway got his hands to the ball, but the big fella in Arnold picks it up. That's his second Rovers goal for the afternoon. And that's the first one for the quarter for the Bulldogs.
Always thought that this fellow had a little bit of AFL ability in him. Nobody really gave him a chance, and at 27 I don't think we're going to see it, but you can see here that he has a great level of athleticism out of the contest, just drags the player up, picks it up, presence of mind to turn it around like a rover. He can take a big mahak. Always thought he'd make a key position player in the AFL, but nobody really gave him a chance.
So the first score, no less, for the term. Means that Sturt's 10-4 and Central are 8-6. The game's alive here at Elizabeth Oval. And I've got a feeling that this one's going to be very tight for the next 3/4 of an hour, which will mean it will be most entertaining. Perfect day for footy here at Elizabeth. Just that bit of bruise to contend with. 9 minutes gone as McGowan comes through the middle of the ground. Usually uses it pretty well. Has a look at McArdle. That's okay. Stands his ground. That option probably wasn't the best one, but Cook didn't get the favourable bounce. He's on the left leg, though. Expect it to go long, hard and high as he kicks it in and just misses. 3 for 1 behind. So Central, a couple of quick attacks.
There was a time, perhaps 4 or 5 years ago, Tim Cook wouldn't have made the distance from there, swinging the ball around the corner. With that kick, he made it pretty easily. I think he's going to be a dangerous player for them around finals time. He's generally pretty accurate. He's creative and he's courageous, and I think that's a lot of what makes up a successful final side.
I should think he'd be fairly hungry too after sustained time in the reserves.
The double blues keeping possession. Good couple of little kicks down, and this is a 50-50 contest. Oh, Bodie Atkinson just pushes Scotty Lee under the contest. Wants to give the ball on, then doubles back, spots the ball out wide, running back hard.
Ooh, very lucky.
The mark maybe should have been paid to Jones. It wasn't. He needs support now. Gives the handball to Thurston. Thurston couldn't take it from behind. 38 for the Bulldogs is Graham. He's still in the contest there somewhere. Players just throwing themselves. In fact, it was Scotty Lee in there as well.
I know why Scotty Lee's been sent to the back pocket, because Brodie Atkinson was the one man who really kept Sturt in the game up till half-time, and I think it's fair to say that Peter Jonas wants to make sure that Brodie's not going to have that same sort of influence in the second half.
Again, the ball is down. It's Rick McGowan. It's a good little handball.
Ooh.
He could have got taken out there.
Yeah, he got half taken out.
He hasn't got up too quickly, but the ball comes back in through Damien Squire. This time out towards Brodie Atkinson. Good spoil from behind by the Bulldogs captain and Danny Holm. He takes 2 bounces. Now the right leg comes back in board. Just spotted Sam McArdle by himself. He's got Tim Cook running wide. And the first kick of the afternoon for Sam McArdle. It's over the top of the player at full forward now in Michael Davey. He's the one that swapped, I think, with Scotty Lee. The double blues, they clear from the fence.
Just don't seem to have real power, do they, Central, in their key forward areas or with their big men. And so they're having to improvise a little bit. McArdle's provided a little bit of spark for them. As the double blues go into attack this time, a little bit wider than they probably would have liked it to have been. The spoil is good, and the good numbers are there as well, as Hicks sees it across the line. And if you've just joined us in Darwin, it's a scoreline that's very tight, as it has been right throughout. 10-4 the double blues, Central are 8-7. Plenty to play for. The double blues looking to hold their spot in the 5, and Central District looking to hold their spot in the top 3.
And if you've just joined us, our guest commentator today is Stephen Tree.
Rick McGowan, he comes out of the fence again. It's a high ball towards Stephen. A bit of grabbing each there. Good umpiring. Lets it go. Xavier Campbell and Stevens coming back as Conway. Now that's a better kick. They're clearing from defence well. They just get it towards the middle of the ground. They just cannot hit a target. in their forward line. And that's tight towards the boundary, but Squire takes it, turns around, gets onto his left side, takes 2 bounces, now wants to straighten the ball up. He does, he brings it back and board. Who's back there for the Blues? There wasn't a player. In fact, it was Graham who took it. Now he goes wide. The ball needs to sit, it doesn't. Twit's there with Matty Slade. He goes over the top of Twit. Good handball from ground level. Again, Graham gives a handball across. This comes forward to Hopwood. Hopwood turns around and gives it towards Lillico. Now he needs to get to his feet quickly, get back quickly, and get the ball moving quickly. He does. Danny Holm, he's loose in the middle. Got a player out wide if he wishes to use him. He's got nobody up forward. He goes a bit longer with the bomb towards Marco Bello. He has to sit. No, he doesn't need to. Just falls behind the back of the pack and takes an uncontested chest mark as there's a bit of a wrestle match going on. Not far from that contest. Again, I think it's Campbell and Stevens.
It's just a little bit of zoning going on there as McGowan comes off and Hicks comes on. But the little bit of extra leg speed that Bello had allowed him to get there. But if you zone off and you don't play hard man-to-man, as Powell did not do there, you're going to be burnt if he kicks straight.
Well, he had 2 up to that stage, and that was about his easiest shot he could have taken. Just didn't drop the ball correctly. So another behind. So 10-4, 64. The Double Blues, they still lead the Bulldogs.
Just sense that the Double Blues will stop running as hard as they were 5 minutes ago. We're almost 14 minutes in, and they've just slowed down a little bit.
I think we've seen that fluctuation a bit throughout the game, though, haven't we? Where a side gets a couple of goals behind and then they up the ante a bit. And this now is with Sturt. They've got the opportunity to go inside their 50 again. Twit is the one who provides the entry. Not quite there this time as Woosnam. You won't count that as a stat inside 50.
They're just not hitting targets, are they? They're getting the ball to the half-forward line from the midfield, kicking inside 50. The players have got 2 or 3 metre break. They just cannot get the ball to the chest.
Well, I was going to say that about Central about 4 or 5 minutes ago, and I thought, oh, I'll just hold that back a bit. And I think it does apply to both sides. They're just going forward and they're missing the targets every time they're going forward.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a bit of perceived pressure there in terms of the closeness of the game, the importance of the game, and secondly that breeze, I'm telling you, is a bit tricky down there, so it's a bit hard to handle. At the moment, 14.5 minutes gone, 8 points the difference. Central will continue to try some different things. They've got 1 man in the goal square up forward and nobody else through the forward zone, and they're kicking with the breeze. So he's trying all sorts of things, Jonah, to get something to happen through there. We saw Daniel Holm, Mark, go in a moment ago and blast it high, and just don't have the manpower down there to play it that way. They've got to go in quickly and cleanly and try and find a leading player.
Now, Triggy, there's a call in the AFL to blood test all players and then let them go hell for leather. This blood rule, the AFL claim is a blight on the game. I guess they've got no choice at this stage without a better rule.
Yeah, well, blood test the players and let them go hell for leather has got its logistical problems, much less whether it's going to be providing enough coverage. You just need a better way of getting them off the ground. I mean, you've got a third umpire there doing his tricks.
I'd suggest we just get them off the ground, let the other one come on.
Nearest point, maybe.
Yep, just let them go off, run around the boundary.
You've also got to look for the safety of the players that are out there. I mean, a week's a long time in football. When you blood test them, even at the start of the season, you're right, it just doesn't happen that way, unfortunately. But you're right, it does take a while.
Got any other ideas?
I think your idea about putting them off the ground, there should be 4 trainers, bandage them up, and it's a 10-second get them on, get them off. If they're going to be off any longer, let somebody else come on.
Fundamentally, you're right, though. It's a pretty long break.
Look, from my perspective, just there's trainers in each corner. Bang, go off, wrap it up, put them back on. They wouldn't be off for more than 15 seconds if everyone was organised. And if it was a nose or something like that, the player indicates he crossed arms that he can't come back on. Bang, the interchange player hits the field and get on with it. We could jack them up like they do in Formula 1, Triggy, an 8-second pit stop.
If only.
Courtesy of our director, if you're laughing at the silliness of the commentators, we'll just pass that one on.
Don't bring me into that one, please, David. Twit. That's a better kick forward. Give that player up there a half a chance. And he will take the mark. And that kick's not good. Again, playing from behind Rashidi. This allows now Stevens to clear the ball from defence. Well, just going back and forth. Bit of a game of tennis out there at the moment.
Both sides are playing wide, which is a real problem out here.
Again, just the turnovers. Just been too many in this quarter so far. That's a better kick. Conway, Weatherall couldn't take it. Under a little bit of a pressure there. Taken was Cook. Should have got the free kick. Handball over the top by Hicks. Again to Stevens. Now Stevens just blasts the ball up forward. And what happens? Well, double blues are back there. They read a little bit better than what the Bulldogs do. And Maloney takes it and kicks the ball up. Well, what do you call that? Play on, says the umpire. Gowans back to Scotty Lee. Scotty Lee doesn't waste too many disposals. He doesn't this time. Across to Gowans again. The running Joey Hicks unleashes with the big kick forward. Little push. The umpire has seen it and gives away the free kick to the disgust of the Bulldogs crowd.
Well, I must admit, I don't like it. Player stood his ground. Sturt player backed into him and fell over just by virtue of running into a stationary object, and you can't blame a forward for that.
Oh, I reckon the crowd probably got that one right. But gee, they've been spoiled with some pretty reasonable umpiring. So you get one that's crucial in the game. I mean, it's an interesting point. I'd probably go with you on that one. The players used his body beautifully. Didn't push him in the back. Just stood his ground. And I think the umpire probably did get that one wrong. That's a big fly.
Atkinson pounces on the ball. Gowans is in there too. I've been pretty impressed with him today. Use of the ball's a bit better that time. And Lennon holds up the player, but Michael Davey probably wasn't going to go anywhere anyway. Now he gets an option on the inside. They've got a spare player across the top. They've got another one across the top if they wish to use it, but Joe Hicks goes with the leg. Pretty ordinary leg too, and a tough one to take. There's 3 Sturt defenders back there. Holm gets it offhand, little slip, short kick in, player down. Jeepers, they've got some numbers down there. And Michael Davey, who was involved in the play 50 metres backward of there, sprinted hard, made the space, and got himself into the space and took the ball.
Well, the space was provided because James Gowans was flattened, went down, and everyone ran off him. Just left a big hole. Davey was clever enough to find it.
So Davey, 6 games, hasn't kicked a goal yet. Has now. And it's a vital one for the Bulldogs too, by the way, as they close to the margin to within 2 points. 10-4, plays 9-8.
Well, he's been sent to the forward line just to give them something different. Ford struggled at centre-half forward. Then they brought McArdle out to that position. He struggled. And Davey was sent to that area just to give another dimension. And they're really just providing a different option.
Bounce down again, middle of the ground. Arnold and Conway coming out of the backwards was Lennon, couldn't get out. He was tackled there by Lilico. You see players. Well, it's an important stage of this game. Double Blues are up by 16 points at half time. The Bulldogs have reduced that now by 14. Just to have them leading by 2. Again, Lennon tries to get out of the pack. This time goes for the handball. 4 there was Curtis. Again, he butters up for the second effort, takes it and runs away with the football. And the awkward kick forward. This time the Blues need to be in front. It was through Woosnam. Done a fair bit of pressure. Just goes for a soccer in mid-air. It's a high ball. Again, Burton just waits. Gives the handball over the top. In there is Sheedy. Tried to be tackled and somehow has got boots the ball over his left shoulder. He has kicked a miraculous goal. And one needed. That's his first. And that's the 11th for the Double Blues.
Just, I like these career highlights. It's also his first in his career. Bang. Good goal awareness, good savvy, and he likes it. Has never kicked a goal. 7, what's he kicked? 10 senior games, never got a goal off a wing. And you've got to say there's a fair bit of pressure mounting for him. If you're playing on a wing, you're expected to kick a goal and a half a game. Coaches are looking to get at least a goal out of their wingman. You've played 10, you haven't got a goal. There's a fair bit of pressure, and he's playing a pretty good game today, high amongst the Double Blues best.
Well, just looking at that again, I think we've sold the quality of the goal a bit short in amongst such heavy traffic. That was a really terrific kick. Now Central under some pressure. Cook. That one's gone over the jam tin, all right. It's gone higher than it's gone long. Holm had a player on the inside, had a quick look at him. Turnover again, as Mark said before. That's the mistakes that are starting to cost. They're the ones that are starting to make an influence on this game, as Weatherall gets it to Twitt inside half forward, or not quite again. The kick is very ordinary. Makes it hard, doesn't it, as a forward if you get that sort of entry. Lennon ran into a player, then got the handball away. The spare one is Twitt. This one will go inside 50. It's just there, and Burton takes it very neatly in the hands. Central District had run forward and made the mistake turnover happens and it screams back. And to be honest with you, a lazy forward didn't chase and ends up with the ball. So sometimes the luck of the draw like that, isn't it? You take your chances as a defender, Mark, and you run and you can pay the price.
Yeah, just numbers around the football once again, the double blues. Julian Burton so far has kicked 3.
Burton, 1 in the first, 2 in the second, has a ping at it and misses, I reckon. Just offline and through from behind. So 11-5 plays 9-8.
We'll just wait now. Damien Hicks to bring the ball back in. Oof. A bit of egg there we see on Gowans' forehead. Must have occurred in that last contest going forward. Well, it's a chance for McArdle. Haven't seen much of the football today. Playing Robinson, well, he just gives a second contest. The ball taken was Gowans with the football. He thought it may have gone out. I think the play and Robinson thought also. The umpire calls play on. A good smother again by Stevens. Oof. Nice little egg situated over his right eye.
Chris Gowans be a bit sore with that one. To ground, plenty of players around the ball. The double blues, 23.5 minutes gone. Would love another one into the breeze. Pachura's got some penetration in his kick. He kicks it up within about 15 metres. Woosnam fairly quiet today, well held. Hicks, he's defended really well as he sprints away on the far side. Gets the left leg again. It's a little bit up and under, but he'll find the target. The bounce was cruel though. Arnold is there. Lennon will have the asset and leg speed. Doesn't quite. Just played it well, Lennon, didn't he? Didn't overcommit, rounded him up, and again that kick is higher than it is long. Off the ground, no go, and we'll have a bounce down on centre wing.
There's just going to be 1 or 2 moments in this game that a player will emerge and he'll do something inspiring. It's right at the time of the game when your best players need to come to the fore.
Like the Sheedy goal.
Like a Sheedy goal. I thought that was just a great moment. I don't think we undersold that goal, Tricky. I think that was just a great goal in the context of this game. It was exactly what the double blues needed.
Well, McEwen just got the ball down. He's back on, replacing Conway. Squire couldn't take that. Spent most of the day at half forward as Damien Squire. Bulldogs have a chance here to build something. Gowans takes it, kicks the ball up beautifully up forward. Mark couldn't be taken by Stevens. And he tries to clear the possession. What will the umpire indicate here? Is it holding the ball? Well, listening to the reaction from the Bulldogs crowd, there'll be a ball up. Well, a lovely kick by Gowans, David.
Well, I think Danny Stevens was as frustrated with himself as he might have been with the umpire, because really that ball was sent in lace out. He was on the lead and clear and just dropped it.
McEwen takes it out of the air, looks for support, ducking his head and trying to break through was Matthew Powell. Couldn't do the job. Marco Bello just there, just holding the backman up. Well, 9-point margin. It'd be pretty handy for the Bulldogs going in there, or the double blues in fact, going in at 3/4 time. The ball comes over the top, a chance for the Bulldogs now. Stevens got support there by Danny Holm, comes back with a banana kick. Has he brought it back far enough? No, he hasn't. Another behind. Again, there's plenty of tension been out there this afternoon. Plenty of little scraps right from half forward through to the back lines.
Yes, I think for the Bulldogs, they expected to win this game. For the double blues, to come out here and get belted by Centrals really would have destroyed their season. So I think the double blues have played this game like their life depends on it, and they're leading at this stage. I think they do know that a win today is vital, and they've already got Central scalped once this year. Now, where was that? At Unley Oval, we covered that one, and they were pretty good.
Dean Woosnam off the ground, so
Adelaide.
we're a bit critical of him not making an impact on the game. Corey Jones has taken his place into time on in the third term. Out of bounds on the far side, dead set on centre wing. 71 plays 63, 8 points the difference. We've not had much of a gap between the sides all day. Central boys are on the back play there on the check side. They get a full face of goal. Look at it. Geddes is the one sitting back in the hole, but the bounce didn't favour him though. McArdle doesn't quite. Cops one for his measure, but for the second time this game, the Sirens beaten Central as they've been streaming into attack. So that's it, 3/4 time, 8 points the difference, Mark. And you'd have to suggest at the moment that the double blues have held sway, and with the breeze at their back, going to be pretty hard to toss.
Yes, it'll be very hard. It's not much of a breeze. I heard you say, Stephen, before the start of the game, maybe 3 or maybe 4 goals, but I think it really has died down here at Elizabeth Oval. Maybe 1, maybe 2 goals in it, if that. But it was a very entertaining. It wasn't much in it at the start of the quarter, but you just, all of a sudden sense that desperation started to appear as both players realising, well, there's only 35, maybe 40 minutes of football left in this game. It's going to be won. It needs to be won now. And you just notice the intensity started to pick up. But the Bulldogs still have problem up forward. They have not had a forward player really on top. As I said, the multiple goal kickers this afternoon have come from Arnold and also Lee. Just a couple of blokes you just wouldn't expect. And then it really has been scattered around. On the other hand, well, Double Blues, when they have gone forward in that quarter, were fairly untidy with their possessions.
The Bulldogs hate losing at home. They pride themselves on winning on their home deck out here at Elizabeth, but they're under some pressure at the moment because the Double Blues will come home with what breeze there is left. 8 points of difference. The stage is set for a wonderful last quarter. I hope you can stay with us on ABC Sport.
Well, the Bulldogs go forward once again. It comes back to Lillico. Now he spots a player loose. It goes up forward. Mark nearly taken it, couldn't. Coming through hard as Tim Cook gives a handball out wide. A chance now for the Bulldogs through Gowans. A lazy left leg. Really is pushed towards the point post there, and it was. It's gone through, but gee, that was a set-up there. Just took it a little bit too easy.
They're the ones, Mark, I guess the coach looks for an interstate recruit. They're paying a fair amount of money too. His form's been very good just to finish off.
Well, he's had the most possession so far in the game, Chris Gowans. He's had 19 for the Bulldogs, but Brucey Lennon 24 for the Double Blues, and Squire with 20. Also has been pretty busy this afternoon.
Yeah, but those kicks are what you call the money kick.
Oh, they are.
That's what you play. You pay a recruit, a big name recruit, the money to finish off.
Well, they've got a chance to go forward again. McArdle just can't get his timing right this afternoon. Bottom of that pack there was Robinson. Gave the handball out. We'll just expect there the ball thrown forward. Looked like it was Michael Curtis that gave that ball out in front. Again, Esquire got 1-2 grabs at it, couldn't bring it to ground. Danny Holm just sits and waits for the ball to spill free. The Double Blues, they're keen to get the ball up forward. Joey Hicks is going back with it. In fact, Damien Hicks just needs to keep possession. Brody Atkinson held without the football. Burton's alongside of him. Brody goes to the ground with the ball, pushes it back between his legs. Scotty leads there, gives the ball out, and appeals for the free kick he was given. So the umpire pays the advantage. This is Lillico, one bounce. He's got a player out wide. He wants to give the handball across. He does that. They can go wider still if they wish. Hopwood down the line. The kick again wasn't good. Comes back. Seamus Maloney. Now the turnover is going to be costly because the player up forward, Thurston, is free. Needs to take the ball. He's pretty mobile for a big bloke. He's got Jones back in the middle of the ground. That's the direction that it goes. Couldn't quite hit his target. He comes for his second effort. Wasn't bad. Over the top is Damien Hicks. He'll sit on the football, no doubt. Just wait for the umpire to blow the whistle to ball up. About 20 metres out from the Double Blues goal. But again, errors are costing this game of football.
Sometimes when you're 19 years of age and a senior player calls for the ball down the middle, you really feel compelled to give it to him. I think that's a classic of Thurston's really needing to line up the goals and just finish it off.
Weatherall with a chance, off hands. His quick shy goes through for a behind. Back out to 8 points to difference. 72 plays 64. 11, 6 to 9, 10. It's a fair indication of just how close it's been all day. A similar number of scoring shots, very tight game. And cast your mind back, round 11 I think it was, when Sturt did beat Central. Since then, both sides have been in pretty good nick. 22-point ball game back
Umpire has found the free kick here. Twit was kept out of that contest.
Well, you have a look, you be your judge.
Yep.
Shepherding, it's fair enough. It's actually a good decision. Umpire Woodcock.
Jared Twit. Too far out, so he just puts it in the right place. And a good mark taken again by the big fella in Thurston. He's kicked three. Will line up for his fourth.
And there's a fair bit to like about this fellow. Look, he doesn't have a run at it. He has 2 steps into it, launches himself forward, sun in his eyes, didn't lose his composure at all, did he? And one of the other things I like about him already is he's got a very good kicking style. Runs straight at the ball, stays over it.
Well, you have to compare him with someone like a Stephen White, who's missing this afternoon. He's kicked 3, should have made it 4, just pushed that one to the right. There's another point, 11-point margin now, or 9-point margin it goes out to.
Lee kicks in.
Oh.
Don't quite know what Scotty was looking for there, but the competition was pretty good. Hicks needed to run straight on line there because Weatherall couldn't get it. Atkinson's in the action as well, and the umpires found another free kick this time.
It was there.
Weatherall out.
Look, I think the crowd are upset because this year we've had Manly umpiring, and just a couple of those have been perhaps a little less than that.
Thurston looked very dangerous once again, didn't he? Didn't quite take that one. Flicks it back this time. Has a look now at Squire, who can be very, very damaging inside 50. That's exactly what he is. Sooner or later, the dam was going to bust for Central. That is Squire's second. And they kick further away. They go to a 15-point break.
Damien Squire will play his 150th game, not next week. The Double Blues have got the bye, but in round 22, Norwood at Norwood, he plays his 150th. And you just think that that'll be a highlight that the club will want to honour, because he's been a great servant of the club since coming over from North Adelaide. He served them pretty well, and it is a milestone worth just honouring in the right fashion.
Bounce down once again, 64 plays 79. The big fella, and Scouter gets the ball forward down to Danny Holm. He'll try to get through this pack. He tried very hard, just couldn't break the shackles there of Timmy Weatherall. He goes for his second effort, was good, gets the handball out again. Like Lillico threw the football out. The big fella again gets the handball forward. They're hustling and bustling the ball. Oh, great saving mark again. Well, it was David Mackay's best up to three-quarter time and Scotty Robertson. That was really a match-saving mark.
Well, he attacked in the first quarter, Mark, and I thought he really set the pattern for them in the first term. He shut down 3 quality forwards and played his own game. He'd done pretty well.
Robbo comes out, pushes towards the grandstand side, looking for Brucey Lennon. Goes for the discipline sport, just couldn't get fists to the football. And a good mark taken by Murray Hamlin. He gets up quickly. We just see Hamlin's mark there. Couple of grabs and finishes up with it. Again, Robinson in the contest. Picking up the crumbs was Gow with a little bounce pass across to Cook. Oh, that's the one they wanted. The Bulldogs. That's the first for Tim Cook of the afternoon. It just shows how dangerous he can be, David.
Set up by some great play by Gowns, by the way. Look for the underground handball. It came from James Gowns, and it was a very clever one. You can see that he had all bases were covered, so he handballed it down on the ground and bounced it up delivery. That requires enormous skill. You just don't understand the pressure of the contest. Bang, people around you, presence of mind to handball it the right way, hitting the ball the right way so that it bounces up to the player. That was an unbelievable effort to create that goal for Cook by Gowans.
Central relying very much on their midfielders and the runners to get their goals. They get within 9 points. Goals to Arnold, but to Bello and to Lee. And Cook now, just if they can find a winning forward, it'll put the icing on it for them. Quick kick forward, Pachura's in front. They've got one spare. It's Squire. He's a long, long way free. The Central boys had attacked from half back, and Squire sat back, took a chance, goes inside half forward, usually uses it pretty well. But this time, chopping off the ball. The umpire going to play 25? No. Taking the mark, Quinton Graham. Comes towards grandstand side. There's a fair amount of enthusiasm in the crowd here, by the way. A fair bit of that enthusiasm directed towards the umpires, but well, by and large, have been okay. Good tackle. Burton. Handballs back. Full face is Threadgold. Spreads it wide. Pachura again has that raking left leg and a player wide. Gee, they've got a spare one again. Central boys in defence have decided to take some chances. It might be a bit early for that. Need to play tough and tight just for the moment. Atkinson well rounded up. Goes to half forward. Doesn't quite find the mark. Central clean it up again. Michael Stevens. Quick kick forward. Finds his target. And as all that was happening, Ricky McGowan's come onto the side, onto the ground just a moment or two ago. So that probably tells you that Peter Jonas' patience is being tested a bit. He's had one of his key playmakers off the ground for a while.
Well, I think he copped a heavy knock in the middle of the third quarter. Rested him, got him right. And at this stage, 9 points the margin. You couldn't tell who the winner's going to be in this one.
Well, Jones is coming off. Dean Wilson will come on just to maybe add a little bit of spark, a bit of experience in this last quarter. Knock forward. Pachura should pick this up before it goes out. He needs support from Weatherall. He gets that left foot, kicks it high up forward. Where's Thurston? Where's Burton? Hicks goes back, gets a hand on the football. Scotty leads back there, gets tackled and thrown over the boundary line. And gee, there's other games around the But around the state this afternoon, I wonder how close they are. Well, they are. North by 3 points. And down Noarlunga, well, South, they've kicked back with the breeze. They're 9 points up as well.
Important for South, isn't it, to keep themselves in touch with that top bracket just outside. And if the Double Blues go down today, that will really close the gap. So there's a lot to play for now. Not that Sturt are going to know it, but the implication is that they need to win just to keep that buffer there. So it's inside half forward for Sturt. It has been for a little bit of time. Chris Gowns is there. Atkinson is there, works frenetically and gets it out. Goes towards the boundary line, and we'll have another boundary throw in. So score check, 12-7, plays 10-10, just 9 points in it. And I'll buy that argument. You couldn't pick a winner from here.
No, you couldn't, but I think it's fair to say that Scotty Lee has done a very good job of just shutting down the influence of Brodie Atkinson.
Well, I've really liked his game forward. I thought he was threatening and gone back and done a job and done it very well.
Soccer ball gone forward. Patura realises he's about to be attacked. Gives it back to Weatherall. Weatherall comes inside. McGowan has come on. Should take this. He does. He needs to change direction. Goes across to Hicks. Hicks will take this under a bit of pressure. You can see Hopwood, but down the middle of the ground, he spotted the player in Stevens. The ball's carried. The big fella, Scooter, couldn't quite get his hands to it. Comes across to Lillico. He takes it. Well, they've got the loose players here. Have the Bulldogs. Hamlin takes off running hard, runs his full distance, then unleashes with a big kick towards McCarl. He goes back. Oh, the mark nearly was taken there by Danny Holm. Couldn't finish it off. The handball comes out wide towards Robertson. He's tackled by Marco Bello. Umpire again calls play on. Back to Chris Threadgold, and this ball's going to be wide. Just how wide, it's out of bounds over the boundary line. The free kick to the Bulldogs will go to Stevens.
One of the areas that the Bulldogs have really improved this year is the way they hold the ball in their forward line. And they were outnumbered, no question, but they kept at it and forced the turnover.
Rare mistake, but a very, very critical one. Not as critical as it might otherwise have been, because chipping in and taking a really good mark is Mark Conway. The boys have kicked the ball high today, or is it my imagination? Beautiful mark taken by Burton. He wastes no time either. That'll get it inside 50 now with some space, some time and space. 33. Jade Sheedy kicked one in the third term. He's lining up for one in the fourth. Kicks long, not quite going to make the distance as it's spoiled forward. And Central repel another attack. They're holding firm at the moment. The kick comes back to Lillico. Not many options. The Sturt defence holding up okay. Middle of the ground. Just a bit too long. Patura hands off. Maloney, he could just about kick it from here. 55-60, just a bit off balance on the kick. And it goes astray as well. So
Phil Carmwood would scream because Brodie was 35 out directly in front on the lead. He was 20 metres clear of Scotty Lee. And
he could have run in 25, another 25 to 30 metres. There's just no one forward.
And was ignored.
Well, Cook around his body. This game is starting to liven up. We see Gowans comes back inside, gets around the players and back onto his left foot, kicks it up towards his brother, other Gowans, who just couldn't take it. That was Christopher, but a good mark again by Robertson.
Dissect his game today, and he's probably had one of the better games that he's played for the club.
Well, he has done it well, as we see Threadgold bombs it up again. Burton comes to the fourth.
Starting to
just
take
takes
charge,
a strong mark. He is. He's just putting his big frame out in front. He's got Woosnam. He's got a yard on his player. Oh, he should have taken it. The umpire being paid. Thurston gives it back inside. Tries to find Weatherall in there. Squire's going to play it loose. Just needs to spot him. The ball goes up. The umpire calls play on. Knocks it forward towards Woozy. Right leg. Which way's it gone? Is it going to get to Atkinson? Atkinson off the ground. I think he's kicked it. He has. That's his fourth for the afternoon. Oh, what a game of football we have here at Elizabeth Oval. 10-10-70, a 15-point margin to the Bulldogs. In fact, to the Double Blues has got me too excited here.
I caught up with Phil Carman during the week and I said to him, what happened against the Eagles? He said, Macca, we just play without any passion. I think he maybe has found a little bit of it today. They've been a very passionate side. They've supported each other pretty well. Little 1%ers, just the ability to try something different. They are certainly playing high on emotion today, and at this stage it's paying a huge dividend.
Back in the centre, Atkinson's fourth is the Double Blues 13th. 13-7 to 10-10. Central still trying some different things. They put Arnold back onto the ground for McArdle. They just can't get an avenue through half forward. Here is big Arnold, can't quite take it, but at least the contest was there this time. Nobody off hands. Again, Robinson continues to play well. Slick with a handball. The Double Blues get up towards half forward. Watch for Burton. Not quite, but in front. How about the old saying that the further the game goes, the big blokes don't get any smaller. Burton's been very good, and the Lennon kick is offline. by a long way. Out of bounds on the full, so no further score. 13-7 to 10-10, and there's McCardle having a breather.
Well, sometimes you just need to rethink things. He had a day out, didn't he, a couple of weeks ago. We just saw him destroy the game. What did he kick that day, Mark? 8. I think he kicked, he really got a bag full, and today he just can't get near the ball.
Yes, well, his form, even last week, wasn't that good.
Well, he's kicked, what, 2 and 1 the last couple of weeks. So in wet conditions, it's always hard for a big forward. But today, it's really ideal for him. It's dry and it's firm.
The umpire calls play on to Hamlin. The kick's not good. Matura's just starting to get into this game here. Good handball goes forward up towards Twitt. He comes out wide towards Sheedy. Sheedy goes on to Brucey Lennon, will come back. Again, we see Curtis from 55 unleashes to the top of the square. Who's at the back? Who's at the front? Couldn't be taken again. Back there looked like Lillico. Over his body is Weatherall. As it carried, I think it might have. What a goal by little Tim Weatherall. That's his first for the afternoon. And that might be enough for the Double Blues to get home.
I reckon you might be right. I think that's just the one that probably puts it out of reach. Weatherall has had a fairly big day too. 16 kicks, 4 handballs, 20 possessions in a tight encounter. There's not going to be a lot of players that are going to pick up those sorts of stats, but he caught one high, went through with the kick and just made sure it went right where it had to go. Here's where he's crunched, bang. Oof. He knew it was coming. You just sense those things in that aspect of the game and just stayed firm on it. That was a great goal.
So 21 points in it. Sturt have played very, very well, and I just had a feeling there for a moment that Central couldn't get hold of the ball and control it. They're doing all the chasing, and Sturt controlling it very nicely indeed. Perhaps a bit more leg speed in the middle of the ground, but I reckon that one of the real problems Central have had is that key position strength. They've really struggled in that area. Bello with a chance to just get a little bit back. You can be lucky sometimes, can't you? The kick fell short, and Daniel Stevens has 1 and should add to it and make it 2.
Well, he read that pretty well because the ball came in, it was floating all around the place. He jumped at it and it just drifted off.
Good mark.
It was. Good hand-eye coordination, difficult ball to grab when it's wobbling around.
Stevens gets his second. And that's a very quick reply and a very appropriate reply, because if Central were to have any chance, they couldn't just dawdle for the next 5 or 10 minutes. They needed to score and score quickly. 14-7 plays 11-10.
We talked about the players they've recruited and the way they've improved. Healy, who's out today with a hamstring, they've missed him today, by the way. They've missed that long loping style. This guy's had a couple of chances. He's dropped the chest mark. He's been dragged out of a contest once, which the umpire comprehensively missed. That one he almost got away from me as well, but he averages a little better than 2 goals a game. He's got his 2 today, and he hasn't had a good day. So not a bad sign, is it, when you're having a bad day and still get your couple.
Scholar and Conway go for the contest again. The big boys was taken by Conway. He gets in there for the tackle for the second effort. Takes on Gowans. He's crying out to the umpire. That's a bit high up. What do you think? He wants the football. This is Derek Woodcock. Bounces down again. Cross there is Curtis. Applies a tackle again. Pressure is out there. Ventura, the handball comes wide. Gowans again. Oh, great little turnover. And the throw. The umpire has seen it and will play it against the player in Ventura.
It was a quick return fire, wasn't it? Tackle was good, and the return tackle was excellent as well.
Oof. Gowans will pump this ball back inside 50 for the Bulldogs. It's a high kick. Where's the marking strength? Going back hard with the contest is Conway. Just starting to give something in this last quarter. He's quickly to move the ball out wide. He does. Finds Brucey Lennon. He goes down the line to Weatherall. He's got a player out wide in Mark Ventura. He should just chip it over the top. Did that well. Now Ventura could run right inside the 50-metre zone here. Stevens needs to leave his play now from 48 metres. He unleashes with the big bomb, and that is a great kick. A great build-up by the Double Blues. The first one to Mark Ventura, and a good reply.
Played well, David, since he came on.
Oh, well, he started the game on the interchange bench, and I just had visions in my mind why is Phil Carman leaving him there so long. And I reckon that's the reason. He came on midway through the third quarter, fresh legs, and he's a long, hard-running, long-kicking player. And I reckon Phil Carman's given him instructions to run, because that's exactly what he's done. So too, coming off the half-back line with Scotty Robinson. One was one side of the ground, one was the other. They were just running, and they created that goal between them.
Bit of happiness there on the Double Blue bench. 15-7 to 11-10. Conway stood his ground and did pretty well. The Bulldogs have kicked 11 for the game so far. and they've ground them out. They haven't got them too easily at all, and the requirement now is to kick 4 in the last 10 minutes or so of the game. So they're really under some pressure. Squire just about turned himself inside out, as the saying goes, and then goes down to the full forward line. It goes across the line, and yet another behind. So the margin now 22 points. And I reckon if I had my money on the Bulldogs at the moment, I'd be very, very nervous.
Well, Phil Carman's entitled to be happy, because a win today, with Norwood losing to the Eagles last night, I reckon dropped Sturt into 4th position. And before this game, we thought a loss here would really put them in jeopardy of losing their place in the finals.
Murray Hamlin takes a good mark in front. They need to get this ball moving quickly. Gowns is there again, should take it. Oh, good spoil from behind. Got the butt up again by Hamlin. He kicked the ball, then ran up forward. Took the spoil, then kicks up again, but the mark hasn't carried. It's gone to Robinson. Under pressure there, just hits the ball out wide. Now the ball has not sat there for Matty Powell. He's having a bad afternoon. Slide taken. Just couldn't get the football into his hands and onto his boot before it was rushed through for a behind.
Well, there was a fair bit of pressure there. I mean, give credit to the double blue defence. Here, Slade's almost clear. He's got it there. He sees Threadgold closing. Powell gets him. It was great work by Threadgold, wasn't it? Just to chop him off at the pass, as it were. And I think he got hurt in the bargain.
Conway again goes forward. That's a better kick. Just sets up Stevens again. He just kicked the last goal for the Bulldogs. He's kicked 2 for the afternoon.
Kicks this and they're 15 points down with still plenty of time.
We've just gone past the 20-minute mark in this last quarter. Takes 3 or 4 steps. The approach wasn't good, but the result is it's another goal to Dan Stevens. Another one, that's his 3rd. Another one for the Bulldogs. 12-11 place, 15-8.
You know, when you get an AFL recruit like this fellow at 23 years of age, you're going to get 7 or 8 years out of him. He's going to be worth everything that you pay him. He's going to be around the club for a while. He's had his crack at the AFL. Comes with a lot of experience. And a tight finish, fellas like that can be more valuable than you recognise.
Yeah, Matty Slade comes off just quickly. Cook's come on. He goes forward. So another option for the Bulldogs.
Arnold into the middle of the ground. The tap was won by Conway. One sitting out the back is Patura. Very influential since he came onto the ground. Twit, they give some ground, but they've found some space. And now Geddes, with a little bit of time, looks up and finds Squire. Liked his game. He's been very purposeful, and every time he gets the ball, you can just about guarantee the double blue player gets it down the ground. That's if he's not shooting for goal. Now they're all manned up pretty tightly at the moment, so the short one's not a bad option to Geddes, but still they're manned up. Squire has worked very hard and found an option. Scott Lee's free. So too, though, is Brodie Atkinson, which is more important because he's on the offensive side. Now that's out of range, I'd say, Mark, at a wild guess.
Yeah, just think from 50 metres, not much breeze behind his back. He really has died here at this stage of the afternoon. This really will test him. More importantly, will test his hamstrings.
Well, he put it in the square, and they've got Conway down there. And there's not a lot of height for Central. They've now worked back. Brodie knows it's not his best go, so he goes across to half forward.
Curtis?
Whiteman. Michael Curtis.
Curtis, right. I was about to say, he's replaced Whiteman. I thought Whiteman and Curtis were going to double tag McGowan. But really, since Curtis has come on, he's shut McGowan down.
22 minutes gone. Central supporters will have the fingers very firmly crossed that this one goes offline, because if it goes through, it's going to be very hurtful. Just jagged it off the instep and through for a behind. So they got their wish, the Doggy supporters. 99 to 83. As you said, there's just enough time. 16 points the difference.
2 other games being played around the state today. We've got at Adelaide Oval, North by 14 points. And South, well, they're just hanging on to a 12-point margin. Ooh. And here, well, it's 16 points, and the free kick's been given against Conway. The umpire pays the advantage to Murray. Hamlin takes one bounce. He'll now run into Patura, gives the handball over the top. This is Gowans, fakes the handball, then comes, straightens the body up, looks up there towards Bello. Didn't want to be in the contest. Daniel needs to get over the top. Gowans, a great smother off the ball again. The player at the bottom of the pack, I think it's Maloney, is it?
It's a match-winning smother, by the way, because Central had a free one running forward very hard.
Oh.
And this wins your games of footy. That was a great effort, Maloney.
Desperation. What a fight. That was great stuff by Maloney. Ball's down again. Coming out of that pack there was Lillicode now. Just needs a spot of play. Goes wide with a kick. It hasn't carried. Doesn't sit again. Oh, that player and Robinson, long handball over the top to Squire, can go for 3 or 4, maybe 5 bounces. He's got Atkinson moving early. He goes for his 3rd, maybe his 4th now, gets it up, straightens the side up first and needs to get in the contest. Couldn't. Scotty Lee's read it a bit better and he hits the ground running, pushes it out wide towards Danny Holm. Holm, the captain, what will he do? Steadies, 2 short bounces. Now the concentration, gives it back in board to Lillico. Lillico this time, what will he do? Goes high towards Stevens again. He's held without the football, but the mark should be paid. It's not towards Geddes. In there again was Arnold, hitting hard there. Again goes back over the top, back to the captain in Threadgold. He needs support. Gives the handball out wider. A chance for the Double Blues now to clear the ball out of defence. Oh, great spoil from behind against Robinson. But the umpire has paid the mark.
He was fortunate, wasn't he? He got fingertips to it. The central player spoiled. Umpire Woodcock thought that he had enough of it and blew the whistle. Sometimes you can anticipate. It's more of a problem than you realise. Just on the umpiring today, I thought Derek Woodcock's done a pretty good job. So too has Kevin Chambers. You'd like to see Darren Wright just be a little more manly in the way that he plays those soft free kicks. And I think we've got that soft free kick element out of our game. We don't want to sneaking back in.
Squire just a moment ago had possession number 28. That looked over the line, didn't it? Central players are protesting. Atkinson did exactly the right thing, got himself in front. Couldn't quite take it, but had another crack at the footy by virtue of playing in front. Now he's got another one at it. The 3rd effort was really good. Chris Gowns in over the ball. Gave it off, but the player was hot. Not much happening now for McGowan. Nothing clean anyway, and he gets a free kick inside half-back. The umpire won't let them play on. It'll come back, and Ricky McGowan will provide the platform for one last go at it, I reckon. If they're to get it, they have to get a couple very quickly. Lee is in short. Just got no key position power at the moment up forward, I reckon, Central. They don't have any confidence to go forward long, hard and high through their key forwards. Into Michael Stevens. Player protesting that he was being held. It was Daniel Stevens. Didn't quite see it that way.
He does that too much, by the way. His last 3 attempts, he's done it every time. I mean, it's a nothing action, and the umpires aren't getting sucked into it. I reckon Peter Jonas will pull the tape this week, drag him through that, because in finals footy, you just want to see an honest attack at the ball.
Jarrah Twig again. Burton has played an important part in this last quarter. Falling over was Brucey Lennon. Coming up was Arnold with the football. Back to Gowans. Gowans unleashes again to the top of the square there. One hand up by Stevens. Wasn't enough. A good handball over the top from Davies. Sets up Joey Hicks. It's a goal to the Bulldogs. We still have a game of football here, Elizabeth Oval. We're 26.5-minute mark into this last quarter. 89 plays, 99, a 10-point margin to the Double Blues.
Here's a classic. This time, instead of playing for the free kick, Danny Stevens here, it bang, body on body, body on body, gives himself an honest contest, brings the ball to ground. Davey picks up the crumb, can read it, and off it goes into a goal. So he almost created that, Danny Stevens, by just presenting himself at the contest.
Can't tell much just by looking at a timekeeper, but he doesn't look as though he's that twitchy at the moment. So 8 goals this term, nearly 27 minutes gone, so let's give us 3 or 4 more minutes. 15-9, plays 13-11. A very important centre square clearance is got by Cook. Goes towards the far side. Who's got the leg speed this time? We know that Petura's fresh. He goes for it hard and fast to the other side with Gowans, James Gowans. And I reckon that's not a bad result for the Blues. It finds the line far side in the fading sunlight. It's a pretty good game all the way through. Just 10 points the difference now. And a few fingernails being bitten down. Boundary thrown, far side of the ground. Arnold, little push. Conway has got some talent in ruck contests. Thought just maybe that Lennon might have feigned it and gone across the line. Powell, that's a tough one. Really needed to clear them because there's some numbers there with Central. Here's a chance. Goes inside half forward. Who can take them out? I tell you what, someone has, and it's Stevens.
There you go.
Daniel Stevens has kicked 3, including 2 in this last term. And I wouldn't think he's had too many more important kicks in recent weeks.
No, he has been scragged by the jumper, as you can see there.
Quick kick forward. Straight on target and straight through. The game's alive at Elizabeth, and it's inside a goal. The Central District fans come alive.
Oh, no!
And that was a twitchy finger. How about that?
Well, the Double Blues have got up here at Elizabeth Oval this afternoon. The final scores there, 14-11-95. The Double Blues, 15-9-99. And David Mackay, what a game of football. All of a sudden, the goals kicked in the dying seconds there. The 3rd one for Daniel Stevens in this quarter. Oh, what a game of football. I just do not believe it. Now, we're waiting to see what's happened. The siren was sounded. the umpires blowed off. They must have. The players are in disbelief. They can't believe that the siren has blown. It was a nearly 28.5-minute mark into this last quarter. We look at Mark Soderson. What a game of football he played in that last quarter. He just rebounded so well. Back there, led brilliantly by Scotty Robinson and Chris Threadgold. Those two players there really were outstanding. But you look at Julian Burton. What a quarter of football by Julian Burton. The ball came into his area. He gave a contest after contest after contest. A couple of big, strong marks were taken up there. Well, Twit, also Mark Conway in that last quarter, but for the Bulldogs, they too had some of their better players. Well, you just look at them. The umpires, they're copying a bit of abuse here from the Bulldog supporters, David. But still, it really was a great game of football between two sides that I think will play a very important part comes August, September.
Pretty good comment, isn't it? The Bulldogs, just a few weeks ago, were equal favourites with the Eagles for a grand final berth. Suddenly Sturt have thrown themselves into the calculations on a warm, dry day, which will probably equivalent to finals weather. Sturt have been able to outbustle, outrun and outscore the Bulldogs on their home territory on a big oval.
The players don't want to come off. They're standing out there. What's happening? What happened? The siren sounded, but was just, it was a bit of an anticlimax with that siren sounding straight after Daniel Stevens.
Well, Double Blues, of course, go to a bye next week, and Central have South Adelaide down at Noarlunga. So it's interesting. The players are milling around. Phil Carmen's as happy as you can be. You can see the smile on some of those Sturt players as we go down to Stephen Trigg.
Thank you very much, David. Damien Squire, nearly 30 possessions, and looked like you might have needed one right at the end there, but the siren just in a nick of time.
Yeah, just a bit of luck there, I think. Our boys have been in good form for the last couple of months now, and we dropped a hard one against the Eagles last week, but it was good for us to come back and just have a good win today at Elizabeth there.
Theme seemed pretty consistent all the way through. Hard work first at the ball, all the basics, and particularly into the wind early, a pretty important term.
Yeah, it was in the first quarter. I mean, that's when we were at our toughest, and it was good to go into the win and consolidate with a few goals and keep them down to a couple, yeah.
And I guess the thing also is that with Norwood losing last night, a loss today would have put you under some real pressure to stay in the five, but now just a little sniff of the top three.
Yeah, I haven't heard the other results, how South went, but it sort of puts us in a position where we can consolidate our spot, and then we look forward to the finals from there on. So
Now, don't take it personally, but they haven't waited for you. They've gone down the race. You better get going.
I've got to sing this song, mate.